All right, we are finally live. Apologies. All right,
I blame the king.
We got to take care of business first. So, I am Barry Eversley, aka Lord Cognito of the Iron Lords Podcast, and this is also part of the Lords of Gaming Network. And this is my PAX East submission for 2019.
My name's Arliss James Lewis. I'm aka Lord Addict, part of the Iron Lords Podcast, as well as the Lords Gaming Network. I think I definitely butchered that. And this is my PAX, my submission to PAX East. There we go. See, I did it.
There we go. We getting it.
2019. I forgot the year.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Brian Andujar, aka Lord Sovereign of the Iron Lords Podcast, and also a member of the Lords of Gaming Network. And this is my submission for PAX East 2019.
Yes, my turn. It's David Johnson, aka Lord King David of Iron Lords Podcast, also of Lords of Gaming Network. This is my submission for PAX 2019.
We all butchered it. All right, that's what y'all get.
I don't know about y'all, but you know, I did.
Hey, you smooth. You smooth. All right, let's get back to biz.
He about that life. He about that camera. Like when they tell us what to say, we can't see it.
Bye, y'all. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
They go to fraud. Yo,
back to frauding. Back to fraud.
There they go.
Oh man, let me get the tweet out. Jesus, we are mess today. All right, tweets out.
Frauds.
And we are live. All right, welcome to the Iron Lords Podcast, episode 94. And it's another glorious Sunday. We are back at the round table on the Lord's Day. Well, I was extremely excited about our special guest. Hopefully he can make it in progress. But we've got the Bungie and Activision split, Division 2 in the Epic Store, CES wrap-up, and ranking the success of the PlayStation 4 and Spider-Man to discuss. So we're going to get right into it. So let's introduce the four horsemen of gaming, those usual suspects here at the round table. Is my co-host still with us? Because he may be going too.
He's still he's blocked out right there.
He's in the bushes?
He's on mute. Yeah.
All right, but let's do his intro anyway. My co-host with the co-most, my brother from another mother, the difficult game conqueror, and the howl of the young wolf. My man, operating on 1% power, Lord Addict. How are you doing, sir?
He's not doing well at all.
I'm
doing fine today. You know, Mean Gene. Let me tell you something, Mean Gene. Because he looking like Hacksaw Jim Duggan right now. Let me tell you something, Mean Gene.
Hold on. We got.
Let's go.
Right. Hold on, Lords. I just got the Raven was sent to me. Lord Maka is coming in 5 minutes.
Okay.
No doubt. But we're gonna still do our intros. And of course, we have our most technical gaming Lord, the solo gamer who lives for the single player selfish experience, and also the Southstradamus, Mr. Offline Profile Illuminati and Lord Patreon of the Iron Bank. My man, Lord Sovereign, how you doing, sir?
I'm good, chilling, man. Doing very well. I'm
Lord and fraud.
Yeah, I'm always frauding, baby. That's it. That's what you get from me.
Yeah, this is another week. This man has not played me in this game that I was forced to download. That I was forced to like. I like this game actually, and it's like being left at the altar. You understand? We got dressed up. We was ready to get married and all this, and this
that
dude
changed
just
my mind.
out of town on me, man. Like I'm standing there holding. I'm like, what the deal?
You're absolutely right. I don't take anything away from you.
Shut up, bro.
The only thing I played this week was that Resident Evil 2 demo.
Brother.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, tell me about that demo.
Let's talk about that demo.
Mm-hmm.
So I played it 3 times because I went and played it on PSN, Xbox, and on PC. So every time I got a little further because I knew what was in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, that game. For me, it's just the fact they got back, just like Resident Evil 7 did. They got back to real survival horror. When you're walking through this very tight corridor, there's no light around you, only your flashlight, and zombies come out at you. And then the thing about it is, they come out at you, and you can't ever be sure how many shots is going to take somebody down ever.
Right.
Yes.
So you have to either choose to fight or run, which is real. That is survival horror. You're not going to be murdering everybody. And And just the fact that you have to, like, when it comes to aiming and stuff like that, if you're not stationary, your shots don't do any sort of damage.
It's funny you said that, Saul, because I'm so used to like aim assist in Resident Evil, and I'm like, why am I missing so many shots?
You'll shoot right past the slither of his head, right past his ear. I shot a dude ear off one time, like by shooting. The hit detection on the head is crazy. But I also noticed this, right? And I think it's probably intentional, that the pistol is made to feel weak.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Like you don't feel secure with it. Like normally in games when you get a pistol, it's a zombie game. I got these dudes. And I got the pistol. They gave me plenty of ammo. I found plenty of ammo. And I'm like, yo, they give me a lot. I'm gonna make it real far. No, when it takes 10 shots to drop a zombie, and you hit him in the shoulder and you tearing up all parts of his face until you can splat that head. Sometimes it's 1 shot for the head. Sometimes it's like 4 shots for the head. Depending on if you can crack that cranium.
But the thing is that doesn't necessarily ensure the kill either. I blew somebody's head up, and he was laid out, and I'm like, okay, he's done. I went into a room, came back, and he was there, ready for me. I'm like,
wait, he was respawned though?
No, it was the same dude.
With the head off?
He wasn't completely headless, but the top of his head was gone.
Oh, okay. Wow. It's funny you said that because I had the same issue. Like I would body somebody, you empty the clip, and then you walk past, you think it's good money, and then they're still coming. It adds extra level of tension to the situation. So I'm with you on that.
Even with the shotgun to the head is not guaranteed.
I also got a question. Like, has anybody got the hack out? Because it seems like the whole game is there if you just keep going past that 30 minutes.
I heard what they did. They managed to not do that. They set a cutoff point for the demo, right?
Oh, okay.
So if once you play it like whatever 2 or 3 times, you know what to do and you run through it and you actually finish the content of the demo, it's going to shut you down regardless. So I don't think it's in there. I'm sure
I want to know if somebody found out the fraud way. Hey, let's get this fraud way.
But I have
Lord
to say,
hey, what's up?
So happy, man. I am so happy you made it, man. Thank you.
My apologies. My alarm just didn't go off. I don't know. I literally woke up like 40 seconds ago. It's great. Happy to
no
be here.
worries, man. No worries. So happy to have you, man. So being that you're in the realm, it's only right we give Lord Maka that proper introduction like the Lords do. Are you ready, sir?
I am very excited for this.
All right, here we go. I want to introduce a Lord who I've had the pleasure of meeting in the flesh on 2 separate occasions, while at E3 2017 and 2018. Not only does this Lord set the gold standard when it comes to detailed game guides, tutorials, and achievement hunting, but also utilizes a clear and concise teaching style while remaining a positive ambassador to our gaming community. Introducing the creator and host of the Maka1991 Productions YouTube channel, the Lord of all collectible guides and reviews, and one of the very few Lords to survive Scale Electrics, Ben-Hur, and Barbie Puppy Rescue for the Gamer Score and Trophy community. Live from the 6th and making his debut into the realm of the Lords, my man, Lord Patrick Maka. How you doing, sir?
Wow, what an introduction. Thank you so much. Incredible. Round of applause for you there.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Well deserved. You are a Lord in your right. It's only right we show you the proper respect here at the round table. Huge fan of yours, and it's a pleasure to have you in the realm. How you doing, man?
Great. I'm doing fine. That introduction, I don't know. It's gonna set the tone for the show for sure.
We set the tone, man. We set the tone. So literally, you just read us in progress. Was up to Lord Sov. We're doing his intro, and you were talking about the Resident Evil 2 demo. Did you get a chance to play that a little bit?
I played it yesterday. I got a new computer, so I decided to kind of test out the new hardware and run it on there. Put everything up to max. Oh man, that's a demo if I've ever played one. Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic.
Spectacular, man. So, you got any other comments on it?
I mean, at first I thought I was going to be really pissed off with the 30-minute time limit and the fact you can only play it once. Again, but you can get around that if you have multiple accounts and stuff like that and different systems. But I think it's you get just enough to have your mouth watering for the next 2 weeks. Like it really is. There's so much. It feels like there's so much
Sovereign,
more.
you know what I think? I think only that demo would have got away with that. Like only that game, because they knew the product was supreme, and they knew like, let's just give them a taste of this.
True. That's
true. And because let me tell you something, I couldn't hit pre-order fast enough. I couldn't hit that fast enough. I looked at my backlog. All that fraud stuff that I said last week. I ain't buying no game. I ain't gonna wait. Nah, brother. I played that demo. I was like,
it brought it all the way back. But you know what it is, King? I just want to jump in real quick. It also, I like the segments where you go from action and then you go into a dark segment and he pulls the camera out. It really gets you into that tension atmosphere. And I'm like, man, this thing it's still got it, man.
My daughter saw the zombie mouth. You know when you get to the part and you open the zombie mouth in his mouth and there's like splash at the side. And my daughter said, whoa. and like ran out the room. I was like, "Oh, this is really good." Got her almost throwing up. I'm just like,
I like the fact he was dropping F-bombs. I was like, "Oh, let's go!"
Yeah. And like you said, like it's not like a remaster, just like they really reimagined a lot.
Yeah. Why the black dude was super ashy though? This is the question that I want to find out.
He's bleeding out. He was really. He needed a transfusion.
I like what he told you. He's like, when you see one of them, don't you hesitate. I like that.
But he wasn't looking at you like. I'm like, why does he look like he displaced though? Like, I said the demo fine, but my man is ashy as hell.
Oh my God! When I finally got the knife, I tried to freak it like I did in Resident Evil 4, right? Because in Resident Evil 4, what you would do is just you pop him in the kneecap, drop him, hit it, drop, then kick him or hit him with the knife, and then you can pretty much spam them. No, that does not work here.
Not at all. Not at all. So anyway, we of course that's all you've been playing us off. That's just been Resident Evil.
That's pretty much it. Oh yeah, I downloaded Outrun for the Switch. That was
little throwback. Nice. All right. And of course, we have the Incredible Hulk of this, aka the XS Gamer.
Ooh.
The Lord of Combat Sports, who is a man of his convictions, demands nothing less than that premium experience. It is the leader of the Fraud Alert movement.
Ooh.
Beloved Lord King, how you doing, sir?
This week, the level of how can I say like information, because it was a point where we was picking out our topics for the show, guys, and we're literally got our topics. And I said a fraud topic, and I was like, I don't know how the success of the Switch is doing with no true exclusive. I was just messing with the chat, and then I think it was like Thursday. We got bomb after bomb after bomb news. And I love that part. I love when there's so much to pick and choose from that the content of the community, you can always find something else in somebody else's channel on a topic that you're not going to do. So you can just run over to Ryan's channel, or you can run over to Dealer's channel, or you can run over to Brap's channel. You can run over to anybody's channel and get a wealth of information, so it's enough to go around, so you're not getting regurgitated stuff by going to other people's channel. I love that part because I was anticipating looking at how the community dissects all this new information.
Correct.
Now with that being said, I played this week back on Destiny because of the new lab was open up, the new armory was open up, and trying to do the quest line. I think that's for the last word or something like that, what we're trying to do. I finished the Tomb Raider.
Oh wow! How did you like it? How did you like it,
brother? I'm gonna have to boycott award shows because let me explain. Right, award shows focus and highlight games that are already in the know, that are already there, that should get achievements for the excellence. But then there's other games that are equally as excellent in that space. Because
hold on, slow mo giving you the side eye in the chat. I don't know.
Yeah, you giving me the side eye. If you're not a Tomb Raider fan, then it's not going to go with you. Like it's not going to resonate with you. I'm a Tomb Raider fan. I've been playing Tomb Raider since its inception. Like every iteration of Tomb Raider I have purchased, I have played. Some has been up, some has been down. But these the last remakes on them, I've been along with it. I think they're taking it into a nice space. I'm loving to see Laura grow into the woman that she is going to be later. Because remember, we got a finished, polished Laura back on the PlayStation, was doing this thing in the beginning. And this Laura is her learning to be that Laura that we had already. And it's so beautiful. And the 4K, I'm like, man, this game, but for it not to get any
type
awards,
of love. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
it's tough, King. It is tough, man. It was such a good year, you know. But I hear what you're saying. It's like to not get nominated. You know how I feel about Destiny music, so I'm with you on these these subjects. But I feel it.
And then so Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I'm in the stages of, you know how you play a game, you're waiting for the hook to get into you. Like I go in and I start to fall asleep playing it, and I'm like, okay, I'll wait for the hook to come. I go to the next spot and I start it up. So hopefully this week I can get that done. Played a lot of indie games. And I played the Resident Evil demo.
And it was love. It made me, after I finished the demo, I had so much Resident Evil thirst. I went back and played the remake of the first one. Wow.
Yeah, I downloaded that again. I need to get my
you guys got the fever. That's good.
Yeah, I downloaded 4 and that in the remake because I need my fix.
Yes. But the clunky hold on. The controls of Resident Evil 2. The controls is spot on perfect. It feels like a to-date game. Like right now, it feels like this game was made now. The reimagined is beautiful. I went and played that part 1 with the tank controls. Bruh, I was like, come on, man, you're taking me out of the experience there. Like I don't feel confident with this.
Don't quote me on this, but check. I think they do have a modern control option for the remake. I think so.
Maka, did you mess around with the controls much, or how did you feel about that?
I tried to play on PC, and I'm not a PC player, so it was very interesting learning. They were just clunky enough that I thought it was because I don't play normally on PC. And then I was thinking about plugging in a controller, but I didn't want to waste my time limit either. So I just decided to truck along. What stood out to me was I was a huge fan of like the classic game design of like, here's a door and there's a clover on it. Get the clover key to open the clover door, dummy. That's what I like. Is the simple design of clover key goes to clover door. I don't have to like read a document about who owns this door and then go find that dude's body on the ground and then read through his personal journal to make sure it's him and double check the name tag to make sure it goes in the right door.
I'm with you, man. Sometimes it's that simplicity that gave us that joy. You know, back in the day, it gave. So with you, go ahead, King. I'm sorry for cutting you.
No. Listen, I'm done talking about what I played for the week. I'm just happy that everybody. It's telling. When everybody that you run across or everybody that's on your friends list either heard about the demo to download it to play it or has played it. And I think that's a game that's going to probably have a 90% sell through in the community. Those numbers should be really high.
I think it's going to do well. I agree. Cool, man. So you've been playing a lot. That's good. So, and of course, we have the Lord of the Cooperative Experience and Gaming Ninja himself, the Shinobi, Lord Cognito. Spreading that realness in the realm of the ILP, not telling you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. So you guys pretty much nailed it. I mean, same thing. Resident Evil 2 demo, fantastic, man. It really brought the feels back. Loving the tension, loving the scary. It's a completely reimagined game. I didn't think I would be as excited as I was about it, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? So I was happy, you know, they did what they did. I did a little bit of the Destiny Forges as well. And obviously we're going to talk about a lot of Destiny today. But so now that we've gotten into what the Lords have been playing, I want to start off with Lord Maka. His video game system history, his journey to YouTube, and what eventually led him to become one of the best collectible guide and content creators in the game. So let's start from the beginning, Lord Maka. What were some of the first video game systems you had, and what got you into gaming?
Yeah, so I remember like growing up, I didn't have it, but my friend had an N64, and back in those days, if your friend had a system, you basically had it too.
Yeah.
So I'd be at his house like, I don't know, 3-4 times a week playing N64. We'd play a lot of GoldenEye. We'd play a lot of Mario Kart. Diddy Kong Racing was probably the game I played the most, like as a young kid.
Nice.
And then going into like my 6, 7, 8 years old ages, we got a computer, and my parents found it appropriate that I could play Doom and Duke Nukem.
Woo!
So
salute to the parents on that one.
Yeah, I took that and ran with it and played a lot of those games. And then eventually I got my own N64. I got addicted to like Diddy Kong.
Nice.
Then I got a Dreamcast. That was one of the few people. One of the 8 people.
No. We got to put respect on Dreamcast. I got to
I love the system. Yeah.
I got to back you up one time on 64. Now, what about, I don't know, maybe you weren't into wrestling at that time. Did you at least try the wrestling games of the 64, Maka?
I remember them existing. I don't remember if I played them or just like saw them at the store.
Listen, he would know if he played them. He would know Black Mouth. So he would know if he played them.
No, that was the GameCube. GameCube had the problem with the black. Remember? It was 64 was the Aki wrestling games. Those were the No Mercy.
64 was good. It was game.
The GameCube wrestling game like they had the black, like
Black Mouth.
Yeah, they open their mouth and like we call it Black Mouth, Maka. So they open their mouth and like it's like they're soulless. There's no soul in their mouth.
Just a void.
Yeah, that's what we call it. Affectionately call it Black Mouth.
Void mouth.
Yeah, exactly. So then you went to the iconic Dreamcast.
Yeah, Power Stone. I got blitzers on my fingers from that. NFL Blitz. I remember smashing the buttons so hard. Crazy Taxi. Always got to pay homage to Crazy Taxi.
Crazy Taxi. That was my game.
Yeah, you brought it 4 times on the Switch.
Maybe I did.
And the Dreamcast Classic that everyone lost hours on. The demo disc that came with the console.
Yeah.
You played a little bit of the fishing. You played a little bit of that like weird ass dolphin game.
Yes.
Yeah. So Echo the Dolphin. That's the one. Yeah.
Yes. Yo, let me tell you, shout out to Stigger in the chat. Original Next Level Gaming said Maka knows his gaming Dreamcast for life. Absolutely.
Was a crazy underrated console. I have only good things to say about it. I honestly didn't even look into like some of the reasons it didn't do so well. So maybe it was ahead of its time because I remember it having like online connection, but who was online gaming in early 2000?
Yeah, was it the modem back then too? Yeah, like
You had to get the whole setup. You had to call your local city council and get approved. And
absolutely.
And nobody could pick up the phone inside the house because they hear aliens on the other line. And I remember that time my mother picked up the phone when I was playing on my Netlink, and she said, "Baby, it's aliens on the phone," because it was like beating, beating, beating. I'm like, Ma, I'm playing online. She messed up my connection. I was playing what's that? Was Showtime? I was playing your boy.
Showtime Showtime.
Absolutely. Live. Yeah,
absolutely, man. Tremendous. So then you go from the Dreamcast. Now, what did you transition after the Dreamcast?
It's foggy. It's foggy, man. My childhood.
It's all foggy, man. Foggy.
I remember having I skipped the PS1 and PS2. I had a PS2 and I had an Xbox, original Xbox that I got just for Halo. So I think I went from Dreamcast to PS2, but didn't really play it much. Maybe I just lost a little bit of my love for games. I don't remember. And then I went into the OG Xbox because my friend showed me Halo 2, and I was like, oh, snap. This is it, Chief. And we played it nonstop. I learned to play inverted because he was playing inverted and he would pass me the controller when he would die. He was much, much better than me, but I was determined to get better than him. And I played Halo 1 on PC a bunch. I think before that maybe is that gap of time I forget. It maybe Combat Evolved on PC back the good old days.
Nice. So you are a PC gamer kind of early.
No. It's maybe when I describe it, it sounds like it, but it consists of like maybe 3 or 6 months of me as a kid playing Doom on PC, and then me for like 6 months playing Halo on PC.
Gotcha. Okay.
Back in the day when like every computer ran every game, and you didn't have to like have a graphics card and have money to buy a computer.
Yes.
So
different from the current rig you have now.
So back in the day, I was playing like the Halo 1 on the PC like 3 years after everyone else was already done playing it, I think. But nonetheless, moved on to original Xbox, I had a GameCube for a while. I really enjoyed. I played a lot of like the Madden and the FIFAs in the early 2000s. Then I transitioned to the 360 and then kind of never looked back. I've had like a PS4 and I have a Switch now, but I don't play them much.
No doubt, man. Tremendous history, man. So last RP, we had some good friends to the realm, the Xbox 2, and of course, Lord Rand, the man with the million games. So I wanted to talk to Lord Maka about the achievement and trophy hunting mentality. Like, when did that aspect start for you? And then, like, how did that influence you to become one of the very best guide creators in the game?
Yeah, like day one, I remember getting my 360, plugging it in. I remember just like playing, I don't remember if it was Project Gotham or Perfect Dark or Need for Speed Most Wanted. I think Need for Speed Most Wanted was probably the first game that I really like completed just to get the achievements. Might have been a couple months after that. There was a game called Full Auto that came out the February after. But I don't know if I could tell you exactly what it was, but I started unlocking these achievements. I saw that there was achievement lists. There was achievements I didn't really understand. So I went and I like Googled them like most people would. I stumbled across an achievement forum, made some friends in the community. And yeah, it kind of just went from there. Like I slowly started making a name for myself, like writing text solutions on this website. That evolved into some people making like walkthroughs. That evolved into some people making videos that accompanied their walkthroughs. And then I got a capture card. And when I got my capture card, I just wanted to show people my dope Halo skills and my Guitar Hero solo riffs. So I made videos doing that. My first ever video was me like repairing my controller. It's like me repairing it in one hand, me shooting it with my point and shoot camera in the other hand, my dog barking in the background. All my lights are turned off and it's the middle of the night, so you can't see what's going on. But I just made a video to like help my friend fix his controller, and I put it up on YouTube like just to share it with my friend. That kind of took off and started getting views. Wow. And then I don't know, everything just kind of evolved slowly but surely. I went to school and continued doing YouTube as a hobby. And then I came out of school. I needed like a short break from all that because I just completely engrossed myself in school. So I needed like a mental break. Started doing YouTube more in my free time, and then it kind of just took off from there. And I don't know, I've never really looked back.
Yeah, man, it's a tremendous story. You literally transitioned to like one part of my next question. And who's got the snow thing going on in the back?
No, that's the that's the boiler.
Oh, good.
Right, you know, it's winter time, baby. That boiler's gonna kick in. I'm gonna mute myself right now.
Nah, it's cool. That's good. I was just trying to figure it out. But yeah, man. So prior to meeting you in the flesh, I believe it was at FanFest 2017. I first met you, and then recently last year at Microsoft's press event. And I think the first time I came across your content was when we had the original Xbox One Snap feature, and we had the True Achievement app embedded. And I think I got stuck finding some collectibles on like Rise, Son of Rome, and like literally every collectible, it linked me to one of your videos on how to obtain it.
Yeah.
So how did you get that like partnership as far as like with the True Achievements and getting them to kind of link that together? Because I thought that was really dope.
Yeah. So I'm not really involved in any of that. What happened was there was a website called Xbox360achievements.org. And a lot of those members were introduced to True Achievements. So a lot of us kind of participated in both those communities at the same time. And True Achievements is a big like selling point was the fact that they could like track your gamer tag like through Xbox Live, whereas 360 Achievements wouldn't do that because it's technically against Xbox rules, which is kind of the scary part. I think True Achievements could literally get shut down at any point. And I think but Xbox is doing us a solid.
You cleaned that. You see Maka clean that up. He's like, I think I'm sure. I'm not sure.
So Xbox is doing us a solid by keeping it up. But nonetheless, that doesn't matter. They could track all the achievements, and anyone could write any solution they wanted for any achievement. So I started kind of writing solutions. I started adding videos to my solutions, and it kind of took off where, you know, most of the videos I make that are related to anything to an achievement, I try to get them up on that site. But like me and them, it's not like we haven't really talked much. We're not best friends, but we also aren't enemies in any, you know, they run their site, I run my stuff. You know, we both kind of complement each other. They want the solutions on their you know, on their stuff. I want to make my videos and post them somewhere. So yeah, it's great. It's great.
Like a mutual respect.
Yeah. No, True Achievements is dope.
That's what's up, man. I like that. Yeah, man. So I got a 2-part question. And this is now briefly, I want to talk briefly about the TXR days, only because that's how I came across you in the podcast genre. And as you already aware, like all the lords of TXR are very near and dear to my heart. So how did the whole process of TXR initially come together for you? That's part 1. And then part 2, you were recently bestowed the Xbox MVP award. And that was setting you up to like just join this amazing, incredible group of these community leaguers. So tell us both about those processes, the TXR thing and then the Xbox MVP.
You really tested my foggy memory this morning.
Let's go.
TXR, I don't remember exactly who even reached out. It was either South or Rand, and they just asked if I wanted to kind of come on a show, and the timing had worked out where I had the free time. So I was like, sure, let's do it. I think I came on an episode like 7 or 8. And then they kind of just said, hey, do you want to come back again next week? And the week after that, I was like, sure. And
Nice.
so we just started doing it every week. We started getting guests invited and working towards that to do interviews. And, we just tried to put on the best show we could for everyone who watched every week.
You guys killed it.
And we grew and we grew and grew. And eventually we reached people were definitely watching. It was lovely.
Absolutely, man. You guys, I consider it one of the all-star teams of getting together for the Xbox community and just gaming in general. Very knowledgeable, learned a lot, man. Love that show. So I'm definitely glad that at least we got a good run, you know what I mean, with you.
Yeah, I think the guys wanted to bring it back. I won't be participating, but I hope it goes great for them. I hope people love the show again.
Absolutely. So let's talk about that Xbox MVP award. About that? Let's get into that.
I don't know. I got nominated. Someone decided to put my name in a hat, and someone drew my name out of that hat, I guess. I got an email from Xbox saying, congrats, you won this award. Or we'd like to consider you for this award. Let us know what you do for the community. So I explained how I make videos. I explained how I, put out tweets about new features and how I've worked with Seagate, which is a company that Xbox is close to with the hard drives, and just kind of explain my history with Xbox, and they decided that I should be awarded the award. So it came in the mail, and I get to go to Redmond to see the campus in March. Yeah, it's pretty dope.
Wow, that's dope. Dope. Have you been to the campus, or is your first time?
I've been to Seattle. I have not been to the campus. No.
Wow, yeah, I'm trying to get to go there. We're trying to get to go there this year, man. That's definitely on the bucket list. So I expect pictures of the full report.
I'll take pictures of what I'm allowed to take pictures of for sure.
No doubt, man. Salute.
In there, I want you to look up at that sign that says Anaconda Private. I want you to right in that room.
Just peek in the folders.
No doubt, man. I got a silly class question for you. The science behind the Maka name, the P91, and who is that female voice that googles on all your intros, Lord Maka?
Yeah, my name. Okay, first off, with my name, not that creative. My name is Patrick Maka.
Okay. There you go.
Figure it out.
It is.
What's the 91? Surprisingly, I was born in, guessed it, 1991.
Oh my God.
So that's that story.
It's real interesting.
The intro is a long kept secret of the show. I kind of like the fact that no one really knows. There's a few people who know, but they've been instructed not to say anything.
This is very secret.
It's a big secret. If you really paid attention, you would have some hints. I don't have a sister. It's not my mom.
Oh, okay, got it. Fair enough. Yep.
So
I already know what it is. I already know what it is. Yep.
I don't know if you do.
I think
it's a secret, and I kind of want to keep it that way.
No problem.
But it adds to the intrigue and the mystery, which I think we always lack a little bit of.
Salute the Maka with the intrigue and mystery.
Maybe one day after an Anaconda leak, we'll have a leak about the intro girl.
All right, let's do that. The last question. The question I ask every guest in the round. I need Lord Maka's top 5 video games or franchises of all time.
Oh, in order.
No, not necessarily in order. Not necessarily.
All
just
right.
Whatever had the most impact to you as a gamer.
All right, we'll start off with the boring choice. Is Tetris. Tetris is dope.
Wow, Tetris.
I love Tetris.
First one ever have Tetris on.
I have played hundreds of hours of Tetris. I arrange the blocks, then I go to sleep and I dream of the blocks falling. Tetris got me I wouldn't say it got me into gaming, but I remember distinctly like getting a Game Boy, and the only game I had was Tetris, and it was like the best thing ever. Shooting it back to the Game Boy days, the Pokemon series on Game Boy, like Pokemon Red, the early ones, Pokemon Yellow, Pokemon Sapphire and Ruby, and Silver and Gold.
So happy with you.
Hundreds of hours of each of those games.
Okay.
So the Pokemon series on mobile. Okay. Halo 3, or if it's the series, Halo 2 and 3. Nice. Halo 2, Halo 1 got me addicted to Halo. Halo 2 got me a little more, and then Halo 3 took over my life for like 4 years. So Halo 3 is definitely up there.
Yeah, so we got Tetris, Pokemon, Halo. 2 more.
It's a good question. I don't know.
It's a game just for you that had the most impact.
I'm going to look back on this moment and be like, how did you not say this?
Trust me, when you come back, if you come back, I will definitely remember this list.
Shot of redemption. Okay, cool.
Give you a chance to revise, but just on the spot. 2 more.
Probably the Trial series. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the little motorcycle game.
Yeah. Okay.
Hundreds of hours of that. I put too much time into that game for most people to consider like me to be sane. I go for golds and platinums on every track. I do all the experts, all the achievements every time they come out. It's a crazy addiction of mine, and actually one of the games I'm really looking forward to in February is Trials Rising.
Yeah. Listed on your one of your videos. Yes.
It's not launching at a great time. It has a lot of competition, to say the least. So it'll be interesting, but I'm hoping all the best for it. They seem to have done a really good job with this last one. Nice. And then I don't know, I might just go with like a classic like Grand Theft Auto, like San Andreas, Liberty City, Vice City Stories, 4 and 5. I mean, they're all great games, and they all do so many unique things, and it's hard not to give like Rockstar some credit for what they've done over the years, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. I have to say, man, shout out to Lord Maka. He's got one of the most
unique lists.
I think normally people fall, not saying there's anything wrong with it, but most people fall into the Zelda, the Marios, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I never grew up playing those. I mean, Super Mario 64 was like a huge game for me, but I don't know. It's not a game. When I think about like the moments of my life, or like, you know, what really got me, I just never, my brain never goes to Mario for some reason.
I feel you, man. And I think you're first also to put GTA on, which is dope. That's
well, if you look at his video game history, it was unconventional but I mean, he had conventional systems, but you know, the spots that he was playing and the stuff that he was doing was very unique. So his list should be unique, and it's like the best unique list that I've seen.
Absolutely, man. All right, man. Great list. So we're gonna get into the poll results. So last week's poll results are in, and the people have spoken to the question: when compiling all of the latest rumors regarding Microsoft's next generation approach with the Xbox Scarlet family of consoles, do you think this multifaceted strategy will be too confusing to the casual gamer? The winner at 64% of the vote was the no. The Xbox One X and S proved that gamers understand different SKUs group. Coming in at second place at 18% was the yes. 2013 all over again. Microsoft has not learned their lesson with messaging group. Also tied for second place at 18% was the buy a kind of don't want none if it ain't got games, hun.
Too easy. It's too easy. You can't make that joke and be proud of yourself.
Very low hanging fruit.
And he was so proud of himself.
Shout out to
you see the joy in his voice as he read that.
Yes.
Shout out to all the lords who trolled and participated in last week's poll. So let me get it solved, man. What do you think about this, man? So what do you think about it?
I mean, listen, they have to absolutely have to make sure this messaging is crystal clear, because some idiot at GameStop or some idiot at Best Buy is not going to know what to tell. And I'm not saying all employees are idiots, but there are some who is not going to know how to convey this to the average consumer. And somebody's going to go out there and purchase something they were not meaning to purchase.
You thinking GameStop is going to still be live by 2020?
True. Okay, that's what's going on. Another combo, but I mean, again, it's just one of those things where the messaging has to be crystal clear. And if you're aiming to release multiple SKUs at the same time, that's a tricky line to walk. So I hope they can, but it's not an unwarranted reason to be a little nervous.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Lord Maka, what do you feel about the whole messaging? Do you think?
Yeah. I'll be the first one to say that messaging is Microsoft's downside. They very rarely do they do it like 100%. Usually they're around the 80% mark, I would say, on like hitting their messaging. And that's, it's small stuff, like people not understanding exactly what keyboard and mouse support means on Xbox. Why am I gonna play PUBG with mouse and keyboard, guys? I'm gonna quit Xbox. And it's just like, sometimes they get caught up in their own little like bubble and their own little atmosphere to the point where they think people already have assumptions about something. And then they just kind of explain to people what they're doing from that assumption. Oh, we assume that that we're going to keep it fair. Here's how mouse and keyboard support is going to work. They've had a kind of a small problem with that for a while. It's definitely one of not their strong suits. They do need a console in 2020, no doubt. And they're going to need to differentiate that console, no doubt. It's going to be the Xbox One X2 or whatever they call it. And so they're going to have to get the messaging right, which is something they'll need to really focus on because they don't historically do it very well.
I'm with you. It's very important. It's very key.
Yeah.
Based on what we've heard, we're talking about different SKUs. You're talking about Scarlet. You're talking about Lockhart. You're talking about Anaconda. Possibly diskless Xboxes and stuff like that. So the messaging has to be clear so people understand, because we do remember what happened in 2013 with the whole used game situation, and people didn't really understand stuff. So
they did do a good job with like the X, generally speaking, and I think most people understand how the X is different from the S and the benefits and the non-benefits. And even if it's something as simple as, hey, if you have a 4K TV, get the X. Like it has to be somewhat simple. The problem will be like when they have an S, an X, and an S2, and an X2, and a diskless Xbox and a Scarlet. It'll be like it won't be as simple as the X is for people who play in 4K. The X2 is for people who want the premium experience. The S is for the budget gamers. The Scarlet's for those who have a high-speed internet connection but also don't want to pay a lot of money. Like it's going to be the hard part, is kind of categorizing, like like sectionizing people to have people know which one is made for them.
Absolutely.
So, it'll be interesting nonetheless. Hopefully they do a good job.
No doubt, man. So we're gonna get into these topics. Actually, we have a new poll cooking up at the end, so stay tuned for that. But we're gonna get into these topics now.
Cog. You forgot something.
Oh, my bad. You're right. I did forget. I apologize, Lords of the Iron Bank. I apologize. Lord Solve, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. What's up, guys? It's Patreon time. As you may recall, at the beginning of December, I had said that we were going to make some changes to the Patreon. And you guys know how we are. Like, we like to be upfront about everything. So I don't want to make any sort of changes and then people sort of be surprised by it. So just let me talk quickly about what some of the changes that are coming to the Patreon are. The first thing is that we are going to be eliminating the bi-monthly game giveaway. And the reason for this, and like I said, we love to be upfront, is that it came to the point where there was a lot more going out than coming in. That's just being honest. So we had to make some adjustments there, but have no fear. We're still going to continue to do game giveaways throughout the year through Gleam, and we're looking into other partnerships for game giveaways, so that will still be there.
And 1 week left on our Kingdom Hearts giveaway, so get in there, y'all.
Yeah, get in there, y'all. Get in there. But the stuff that's remaining with the $10 giveaway, the $20 giveaway, and of course the Teespring giveaway is still all in effect. Beyond that, there's going to be some movement in terms of things that are offered per tier. So basically, when we put in all this stuff for you guys to force us to play certain things and do certain things, it didn't really move the way we wanted it to. Like, we want you guys to force us to do this stuff.
Listen, I would like to thank everyone who did not have me do the ghost pepper or the tattoo.
Yeah, we wanted the tattoo. We really did.
We really wanted that. I wanted that one chip challenge. I really wanted that.
Listen, they wanted it so bad, and I am so happy and appreciative that you guys out there did not want that as well. So thank you.
Continue.
So that actually, those two tiers are probably going to get removed because, again, I don't. King is in the clear. He lasted like a year with that, and nobody got him. So But in terms of the tiers that we put down about playing online and stuff like that, playing co-op stuff, Addict has yet to play Dream Daddy yet. So you guys gotta press those buttons.
Come on now.
What we're gonna do is gonna bring those things down some tiers so that anybody really, like anybody who supports us at a $2 tier, a $5 tier could get in.
We got some royalty in the chat. I believe that is the iconic Lord Mikey Barra.
Ooh, thank you,
Mike Barra, quick himself.
Hey, Mike, how you doing, man?
Continue. We'll finish.
So we're gonna bring some of those things down so you guys can have some fun. Please force us to do these things. We want you to do this. All right. So that's what's coming down the pipeline. So with that said, let's get into our thank yous.
Yes, please.
And our giveaways. Sure. So let's start out with Lord Javier Medina, a new Patreon subscriber. Thank you so much, Lord Javier, for the support. Followed by Lord Corey Lydick, Lord Whiskey himself.
My man Whiskey. Lord Fireball.
Yeah.
There's an interesting E3 story behind that one. We won't do that on.
We will not be talking about that.
What about Maka? It's a funny one. I'll tell you off.
Yeah. I can assume.
I continue.
Followed by the PlayStation Bra. Thank you, my brother. Then we have Lord Kareem H. Thank you for your support, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
Lord Slow Mo Backslap.
My man, Slow Mo, baby.
I love his icon. It is the best.
I don't think he can change it now because it is perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
He just needs some spit flying from the mouth.
Actually, in our Discord, and he renamed it Lord Slow Mo of the Slap. Continue.
Then we have Lord Chris Williams, aka Fastback 6768. I believe is in the chat today. Thank you.
Yes, my man is always there.
Followed by Lord Ahmed Hernandez. Thank you so much for the support.
Yes.
And then of course, the Lord of xCloud himself, Bill Stillwell. Thank you,
my man.
To Bill Stillwell. He not only he's a good guy, he is an absolute hilarious follow on Twitter.
Yeah, he is.
Lord of Platform Team and now Lord of hopefully the Project xCloud. Please follow this guy. He is a great guy, so fun, and can't wait to see these guys again at E3. Continue.
And we have Lord Twos, Ricky Moore. Thank you so much for the support, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ricky.
Followed by our first Patreon subscriber, Lord Michael Lugo Monkey.
Monkey Punch.
Always first in our chat. Always first.
Always first.
Always, yes.
Man, first to kill you too in PUBG. Shoot you right in the back of the head.
Continue.
Followed by Lord Sammy Prescott, I believe also a fairly new Patreon subscriber. So thank you. Thank you so much for everything.
Yes, sir.
Brethren to the realm, Lord Jay Fonzarelli.
My man, Jay.
Combat talk.
Yes.
And followed by the king of the stream team, Lord Snaldo.
Yes, the PD. That's our guy, stream team lead.
Next up is Brethren from the Cradle to the Grave, Lord Loaded Pixels.
Yes, Camara. Hello. And of course, the man with every ILP color wave ever invented. You already know who it is.
Lord Cat Daddy Fat Stacks. What's
up, my man?
Love that man.
AKA Lord Sovereign Second Identity.
Yes.
And last but absolutely not least, Lord Death Singer.
Oh,
that's
much, my brother.
He's missing in action right now. I guess
he's in there.
No, I'm talking about he know where he's supposed to be.
Oh, okay.
He's playing these games, but it's all right though.
Continue, sir.
All right, so let's
Hoeg, my man Hoeg.
Lord Hoeg is in here.
Yes.
Woo! Do we have the virtual Lord of legality in the realm?
I don't know. Is it using this microphone?
You're good.
Lord Rick Hoeg of HoegLaw. We are right on time, man. We're just finishing up some Patreon duties. We're gonna get right into this topic, man. So just hold your seatbelt, man.
Awesome.
Thank you, sir, for joining. So let's finish this up.
All right, let's finish this up. So we're gonna get into our $10 gift card giveaway. All right.
I would do the drum roll.
Yeah, the drum roll. Addict's not here to be
I can do it.
by it. And the winner is Lord Chris Williams Fastback 678. Congratulations, my friend.
Congratulations. While we pay the bills. Thank you, sir.
That's right. Go buy that Game Pass.
That 1 month of Game Pass. Yeah.
$1 for your first month.
Oh, there it is, baby. Gotta make you holler, baby. Let's go.
Let's go.
All right. So the winner of our $20 gift card giveaway is Lord Cat Daddy.
Oh my God! They're gonna say this is collusion. They're gonna say it's collusion.
It's collusion. Cat Daddy getting that Game Pass, baby. Let's go.
At its finest.
No doubt.
All right. And last but certainly not least, the winner of our Teespring giveaway. And just to reiterate, guys, on Teespring, I believe, don't quote me on this. I'm a little lost here. But I think it's $25 or $35 max, something like that. Okay. But you don't necessarily have to get a t-shirt, anything on Teespring. The only thing that probably is omitted from this is the hoodie, I believe. But everything else,
go get them leggings. You want them leggings out?
Whatever else you want.
Yo, listen, when you post, I want you to post with your leggings on.
I'm done. Continue, Lord.
All right, and the winner of our Teespring giveaway from January 2019 is King of the Stream Team, Lord Snaldo.
Go get them leggings, baby.
Very, very voluptuous.
Yes. Get the red leggings to go with the red shirt. You're like, ooh.
And once again, thank you guys for all of the support. As I said, those changes will be forthcoming little by little. They'll be trickling down. I've got to change a lot of language on stuff and stuff like that. But if they're definitely forthcoming. So again, thank you so much for everything you guys do for us week over week, month over month, which greatly appreciate it.
No doubt.
Oh, Beatmaster's in the chat, my man. Thank you, Beatmaster. Yo,
we gonna get into these topics now. Lord King, I gotta apologize.
No, I know what you're gonna do, and it's fine. I sidestepped the Hoeg, man. I
appreciate you. Thank you, sir. We have Hoeg in the building, and I definitely wanted to address this. So obviously, we know the biggest news right now, the hottest topic that Lord King picked, is Bungie leaving Activision, and pretty much it was set a cataclysmic effect. It was a megaton this week. Everyone was going crazy, and my man Lord Hoeg put out one of the best. Please subscribe to this man's channel. It's a HoegLaw. He put out Virtual Legality number 13. So,
lucky number 13.
Lucky number 13, right on time, man. And you really broke down the legal aspect. So let's get into that aspect. I want to talk, Lord Hoeg, about basically the structure of this terminated / amended deal. And as far as Bungie's lawyers being able to retain ownership of the Destiny IP, which a lot of people were surprised about, as well as Activision kind of, there being a lot that clean break between both parties. So let's talk about this whole, just the event itself. What was your initial reaction? And then, the legal aspect, if you can.
Sure. Well, I mean, I think, and I do apologize for my voice. I think Lord Cognito knows that I've been getting over a little bit of something over the last couple days.
Yes.
So you have to put up with a little gruffness from me. But I think a lot of us knew that there was some friction and some relationship issues, perhaps, between Activision and Bungie, which is very normal in entities. This isn't describing any kind of negative ill will or malice towards any particular party. It's often the case when you've got two giant entities that operate differently and do different things that there's sometimes some friction there. So I don't think it was anybody's surprise to find out maybe they were going to separate, maybe they were going to go their separate ways. I think certainly the way it was presented was like a lightning bolt to me. I wasn't aware of something happening, in January of 2019 or anything like that. I would have anticipated it being a little bit closer to the release of any given product. So maybe immediately after Forsaken or something like that, which in the land of corporate bureaucracies maybe is January after a September release. But so it came as a surprise to me. But as you said in the video that I did, which I put together last week, I did take a deeper dive into that 2010 contract that started the whole ball rolling.
Yes.
And that's a really fun thing to do for folks that are outside of that particular relationship, because we don't often get to see that. We don't often get to see those mega deals between the sides, because they're really good about non-disclosure. They're really good about keeping the cards close to their vest. And, you know, thankfully, Activision got into a little bit of a brouhaha with the folks from Infinity Ward. And so we got to see a little bit behind the curtain. And so looking at that contract, which is what I do in that video, which is, if you like to hear about legal provisions for 45 minutes, but by all means, go right ahead.
Facts.
But it's a very interesting thing. So circa 2010, you've got a Bungie coming off of major successes with the Halo franchise that is clearly the cat's pajamas and the bee's knees, and is able to leverage the greatness that is their design philosophy against these publisher contracts, even with a company as big as Activision, where I look at that and say their lawyers did an absolutely fantastic job. You go through every provision of that Bungie contract, and it says Activision will pay the bills, and we keep everything when they're done paying.
Yes.
And that's
hold 1 second.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think that the way that their contract was structured was because of that break with Microsoft, and they learned a thing or two going into it, and they went in with the eyes completely open going into it? Because that's going to segue into my other part later.
I think
actually separate.
I think Bungie in 2010, much like Bungie right now in 2019, is looking at a world in which they don't want to be owned. They don't want their IP to be lost. They don't want to be in a situation where what happened with Microsoft happens again. So they lose Halo over to Microsoft. That was their baby for a long time. Ultimately, that's okay with them because they're cutting breaks. They want to make Destiny. So when they're talking amongst themselves in their internal executive boardrooms, they're saying, all right, we need somebody to publish this. We need to invent a lot of technology. We need a lot of background support for this thing. We need somebody with a big sack of cash, but we're not willing to lose the thing. So that was probably, they're talking to their internal counsel, they're talking to their outside counsel in 2009, 2010, and probably mission number one is we're not going to lose this the way we lost Halo. And that's very clearly documented in the way the intellectual property ownership provisions of that contract run, which is, yeah, you'll pay the bills. You'll get the right to publish this thing. You'll get the right to sell this thing. You'll get the right to some ancillary materials. When we talk about what we're making, and this is some of the language that's really interesting and impressive, is we're the final arbiters about what we're making. We control the development. We control the lore. We control what this thing is.
I really like that reference. How you used arbiter when talking about Bungie.
Yeah, you know, Bungie's been around long enough that they've probably used all major legal terms somewhere in their stuff. So if I talk about they want to run a race and they know they're running a marathon, it's not some myth what they're getting accomplished. You know, I can do this all day. But I don't know how to work Oni in. We'll work on it. But yeah, I think they took the contract, the leverage that they had, which is everybody wants to work with Bungie, and they said, hey, Activision, take it or leave it. We want your sack of cash, but we don't want you to have anything at the end of the day. Activision said, hey, this is a business we want to be in. And if you go through the provisions of that contract, the main thing they wanted to protect against was main Bungie personnel leaving before the second Destiny was out. And folks leaving before essentially they'd made operating revenue of, I think it's 350 million. And so they covered themselves there. But outside of that, you saw that after what they call in that contract, comment number 2, what we would recognize as Forsaken, was released.
Right.
Activision had the unilateral right to terminate that agreement, which doesn't tell you what happened this January, because Activision was very unlikely to pull that trigger on their own. Right. But it does tell you that the parties, when they were discussing this at the beginning and when they would have been thinking about it now, had this notion in the back of their heads that after comment 2, that was an exit ramp. That we had already thought about, hey, yeah, we've got these 4 games and 4 comments built in, but after comment 2, we know that Activision can just terminate this thing. And so if we, Bungie, decide, hey, we're going to make trouble, we're going to indicate we don't want to continue this relationship, we're going to do a bunch of other stuff that are within our rights to kind of make things known that we want to get out, that we can do that. And that Activision, because they have that bullet in chamber to terminate this agreement, that we can have that discussion at this point in time, which is what I think happened right now.
Gotcha. I want to focus specifically on that aspect, especially section 17.1 of the contract.
Oh, so, crap. I don't have it open. Okay.
I got you covered. So here's the thing, like moving forward with D3, right? And possibly, 2020, 21, and based on the legal fulfillment of D1 and D2, because based on the way it was, but the way you perfectly explained it in your video was that they had Bungie had an obligation of 4 Destiny games, right? And my understanding 4 Comet, which would be, I guess, the DLCs, would be the equivalent of the big expansions.
It's the Taken King and Forsaken.
The Forsakens, right. So as we currently stand, we have D1 and D2, that obligation completed. Comet 1, a.k.a. Taken King, Comet 2, a.k.a. Forsaken, completed. So we know that there were some protections in place by Activision. Now, my question to you, Hoeg, is like, do you think moving forward, like, Bungie, now that their separation is there, do they have like almost like a dark period of not being able to release something immediately that's completely separate from that initial, annual pass that's remaining, so to speak? You know what I mean? Like, do they have to stick to that guideline in respect to Activision, or from this point on, can they say, hey, Super Destiny, 3 point, whatever, what I'm saying? Like, can that happen like very soon, so to speak?
Sure. So when you're looking at contracts, what you're establishing is the landscape, the geography of what you can go forward with. So what you have in that contract is a provision like that talks about a 2-year dark period. It talks about when the development term is over, Bungie can't make anything for 2 years, and Activision retains the right to publish what they've already got for 2 years. So that's the landscape of what they're looking at when they decide this relationship wants to end. Bungie probably doesn't want that. And everything that we have seen in the press releases that they've put out so far doesn't indicate to me that there's likely to be that dark period. And it doesn't really help Activision to look like a bully on this. So what you probably had happen behind the scenes is Activision says, okay, if we just terminate this, this is what happens. And Bungie says, we don't want that. And then so Activision can say, okay, great. How are you going to make us whole for giving you something better than you would have already had? That's the landscape of things. Okay. So Bungie can say, okay, we're going to do X, Y, or Z. We're going to cross market with you. We're going to give you a certain sack of money ourselves. There are any number of things that can happen behind the scenes. The contract is just setting the parameters for what would happen if none of that occurred.
Gotcha.
So I think it's useful information. I think it's important knowledge to know that Activision would have had the leverage in those discussions, but it doesn't really help anybody for that dark period. And certainly the I don't know if you guys saw the 8K, which is the form that a public company files to say something has happened that they need to disclose to their investors. When they filed that, they said that they don't anticipate making any further material revenue on the Destiny universe in 2019 or on. So it looks like more rights exchanged hands than would have just been required under the kind of purely neutral termination under the agreement. So I think there's going to be a dark period in terms of the next major Destiny release by virtue of the fact that it's not done. It's not developed yet. But outside of that, I don't think there's an artificial constraint on that. My best guess is that Bungie rightly thinks that they don't want to have this kind of numerical release schedule where you have to axe all the loot and you have to get rid of the previous 4 planets. And they're going to try to build something a little bit more universal and warframey.
Okay. I got one more question before I open it up to Maka and everyone else.
Sure.
I want to talk about the Sony exclusivity structure. And as we know, the expansions and certain aspects that have come out with the game, the PlayStation has had exclusive content, maps, and so on and so forth. So from my understanding, again, correct me if I'm wrong, Lord Hoeg, is that was part of the Activision agreement. So if in theory this is now broken, is Bungie free to dissolve that?
No.
Like, how does that work? That's my question.
Yeah. So what happens in 2010 and what's been going on since then is that when you make an intellectual property, you get a bundle of rights. That's what we call it in law school. And that's the right to make derivative works. That's the right to sell it on your own. That's the right to do a bunch of other stuff. And what they said is, all right, we've got this bundle of rights in Destiny as we know it, and we're going to hand off certain rights to you, Activision, in exchange for large amounts of money. And those rights where you get to publish it, you get to market it, you get to sell it, and you get to distribute it. And so Activision says, thank you for those rights. We're going to use those. We're going to enter into an agreement with Sony that Sony's going to give us a bundle of money in order to give them exclusivity on these things. That's a contract that exists. So to the extent it exists right now, that maintains its existence despite the fact that they're ending their own contractual relationship. Now, there could be provisions in those contracts that say, hey, if you lose the rights X, Y, or Z, then we lose the rights and things like that. But Sony probably would have been at the table having confidential discussions to make sure that what they paid for, they get, and there is not a single party involved in this matter that is interested in burning Sony's bridges right now. So Sony's going to keep whatever they paid for.
Okay. Now, when you say keep whatever they pay for, through the duration of the Destiny franchise or through the duration of Destiny 2 as an entity?
So we don't have eyes on these contracts, but it would be silly for me if I were the lawyer for Bungie or if I were the lawyer for Activision to have negotiated anything more than kind of a property by property license, because that's how you're going to maximize your dollars. So my guess is that this applies to Forsaken, and then it's all hands on deck for whoever wants to pay.
Got you. Okay. That great answer. Thank you so much. Let's open it up. Lord Maka, man, let's talk about this thing. Obviously the news. Yeah. And let's talk about the emotional aspect. Like what did you feel when you first heard this news? And just in general, what's your thoughts?
So no surprise probably to everyone, but Bungie is one of my favorite studios ever. And they've made some of my favorite games of all time. And for what all the crap Destiny gets, it has the best shooting game, like gunplay out of any game ever. And I will argue that to the death. I can't personally think of a game with better gunplay. That's not me saying it's the best game ever made. It's the gunplay is the best in the genre. And I appreciate it for that. And Bungie does great work. They don't always hit the mark with everything. Like, for example, Armor Lock and Halo Reach. Am I right? No doubt. That being said, I have a lot of respect for that studio. I got to visit it, and I met a lot of great people who work there, and I have nothing but love for Bungie. At the same time, everyone seems to be thinking this is like a power move by Bungie, and Bungie initiated this. Bungie's happy. I think Activision is pretty happy too. I don't know. I don't think Destiny is the financial success they want. Bungie stocks went down way before, Activision stocks went way down before they reported this news. Forsaken didn't sell as well as they wanted it to, and Activision was spending a lot of money to keep what they probably felt like was Destiny afloat, even though they didn't feel like it was necessarily coming back, and it wasn't worth it to them. So like, I'm not surprised. At the same time, I do think that like both of the parties are benefiting pretty well from it, and I don't think it's just like a Bungie wins or Activision wins. I think it's probably good for both of them in the long term. And I'm really excited to like see what Bungie can do with Destiny now that they don't have Activision telling them to, make the Jade Rabbit PlayStation exclusive, and smaller things like that, like the Eververse, and it'll be interesting for them to just see what they come up with when they're able to decide how hardcore they want their game to be, what they want their community to play, how they want their community to engage without a kind of extra voice. And unfortunately, I think it's going to take us a long time to see any fruits of this labor. So I think everyone kind of wants to see, we want to see Destiny 3 released tomorrow. It'll be a while before we see anything, but I think it's a good move for both companies long term. And hopefully for the gamers, it's also great. Hopefully Destiny is a fantastic game moving forward.
Yeah, fair enough. Lord Sov, I want to just get you from the emotional aspect. Obviously you are not the Destiny head that we are, but how did you feel like, when you heard the news break?
I felt I was happy for Bungie, because I think this move puts them in a position where they start to resemble the Bungie of old, where they can, their true vision for this game comes out. That said, I don't give a rat's ass about Destiny. I don't. It's what it is. That is not that's not the Bungie game that I want. But I agree with I think Maka said it. What this allows them to do moving forward with Destiny 3 at some point is that it becomes more of what they had planned for Destiny initially, where it was just going to be this living game that they continue to iterate upon, and not necessarily. So I don't know that we'll see after Destiny 3, maybe we don't see a numbered Destiny for quite some time. And everything's going to build off of the backbone of whatever that game is. So I'm excited for that in that regard. Another thing is that we have to think about how this sort of separation affects what they're doing with NetEase. I know NetEase gave them 100 million other properties. And and obviously Bungie's a very big company. They're not. I mean, they can have multiple teams working on certain things. But it's going to be interesting to see, what they give priority to moving forward. Like within the next 6 months to a year, what do we see more of? But I'm excited for them. I really am, because I don't think they should get. And people talk about Microsoft and them getting back together. I can see maybe sometime in the future, maybe them working on something exclusive together. But I like Bungie being by itself.
Interesting.
I like that.
Also, really quick to go on someone's comment in the chat. You guys asked me earlier about my favorite game franchises. This kind of ties in to Activision as well. Activision needs to focus on a Tony Hawk game. I'm down with that. I'm very down with that. Tony Hawk is an underappreciated franchise that got milked to the bone, and it requires some love and care.
No, fair enough. Lord King, I need your feedback here before I bring it back to Hoeg. The emotional aspect. Like, what did you feel when you heard this news?
All right, so I was in chat with the Lord Addict at the time when it transpired, and my phone just started going nuts. Like, literally, my phone just started going nuts. My Twitter inbox was insane. Is it me? Or do you look at video game partnerships as relationships? And in this whole thing, I always viewed Bungie and Microsoft as two people that got together and it was beneficial, and then they were at their peak. Bungie came with Halo, and it helped establish Microsoft as a gaming entity. And also solidified Bungie as a first-person shooter on console. Like, it can be done. So both of these guys were riding at their peak, and the separation of the two kind of like, it felt like a relationship, like parents split up, and and I'm gonna make Bungie the female in this for this segment, and she goes on and she dates the next guy.
Relation.
So Activision comes through with the bag, and Microsoft was like, yeah, whatever. I got this girl over here, and 343. We're gonna do it over here, and 343 put out the Halo games, but it really wasn't a Bungie type experience. It was a good game, but really, everybody kept saying, but that Bungie feel though. And then, Bungie went on to do Destiny in the new relationship, eyes wide open, because when she left, she made sure she took her bags and everything with her in the relationship. But did anybody see my man Phil Dominus?
Oh my God. Are you trying to say that Phil Are you trying to say
Phil slid in the DMs with, hey, big head. and not saying anything, no more pressure, you ain't nothing, but hey, I appreciate it.
Yo, hold on. 2 super chats. Shout out to Mods Gaming, $10 super chat. Thank you, brother. He said, sounds like Bungie was the masters of their destiny. And shout out to Lord Boneslave off GP with the $5 super chat. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Continue, Lord King, with the relationship breakdown.
And when I saw it, I was like, man, Phil has massively changed a lot of people's views on things, because he was the first one to slide up, like he knew was something. Like, hey, I was trying to share your thing. Hey, just in case, what I'm saying? I'm just letting you know we do appreciate you. Now, going forward, I don't believe Bungie, becomes reacquired by Microsoft or anything like that. I'm not no disillusions of those type of things. But I also understand, as a head of a company, that was very bold. That was very, very poignant, and people looked to that tweet and retweeted it, and they, speculation was all over the place. Phil just let you know, like, yo, we here. We willing to work with you. Whatever happened over there, that was over there, and we're gonna get past that, boo. But I'm like, I was so happy that they walked away with their stuff, right? And because we all felt that Activision was the evil minds behind this thing, and left to their own devices, that Bungie will become great again. The solution there, all right? I believe they equally had a fault in anything that went wrong with Destiny, as well as Activision pushing to get it to turn into that Fortnite cheddar. Right. And I think because it wasn't generating cash like a Fortnite or any type of super extravagant type of game like Red Dead or whatever, they felt that it wasn't a success, where in any generation, games of that revenue are a success. So I just feel that they're in a good space. I think Activision walks out of it in a good space. They don't got to keep those servers up and all that other stuff. And they can move on, and let's see what's going to happen next. I don't think that Bungie becomes Microsoft exclusive. Too much Sony money out there. Let's just see what happens next.
All right, fair enough. I was going to bring it back to Lord Hoeg in a minute. As far as the we talked about that. Now we talked about the Sony exclusivity. I also wanted to ask you, Lord Hoeg, what about the Blizzard aspect, the BattleNet aspect? Obviously we know that happened on PC, and that's under that Activision umbrella, as well as the Vicarious Visions and High Moon Studios, that they were brought in by Activision to assist Bungie. So what do you feel happens now as far as that relationship? Does that just immediately dissolve? I mean, we know Blizzard made the statement that operations will continue on BattleNet as is, but like what do you foresee with that, Lord Hoeg, in reference to it?
Yeah, I suspect that as part of their separation agreement, they talked about how long essentially the back end maintenance will be maintained by Activision. And so that's on BattleNet. I mean, the one thing I would add to the other pieces of conversation that I've heard,
sure, go for it.
I'm a corporate lawyer, right? So I'm already half evil by DNA. but I look at the Activision relationship as both the good and bad. I agree that I think that Activision had its own notions of what the return on investment should be for a game of this type. I agree that I think it was probably Activision sitting on Bungie's shoulder that took them in a direction for the initial release of Destiny 2 that was probably not the best for overall long-term profitability of whatever this Destiny thing is. But on the other hand, I see things like Star Citizen and other kickstarted non-quote-unquote published games get lost in the weeds without somebody in the back saying, hey, you need to deliver a product. Hey, you need to reduce your scope. Hey, you need to focus on these things. And Bungie hasn't lived entirely on its own in a long time. And so I do wonder whether they want to just be completely free right this second, or whether they are going to be looking for somebody to have a minimal kind of relationship with, somebody with a large sack of money that may or may not be trying to change the entire digital storefront infrastructure and kill Unity at the same time. Perhaps. that kind of company. So I really do think BattleNet's going to stick around. I think that at bare minimum, Bungie is ultimately going to have a relationship with somebody for distribution. Maybe not publishing, but some storefront, certainly on PC. And along with that might come certain amounts of money, certain exclusivity arrangements, and things that make sense. I don't think they're going to be bought by anybody anytime soon.
So what you're saying is Destiny 3 is exclusive to the Epic Store.
I'm saying that if you're betting against Epic doing anything crazy short of a Martian colony, you're betting the wrong way right this second.
Oh, man, this is great. We got Lord BloodyKnuckles in the brown, man. He's a passionate former, should I call you a former Destiny player?
I mean, that would be the biggest, because of the fact that, as you put it in the past, I was like, I'm the most passionate.
Yes, he's one of the most passionate.
Problems hurt the most.
Chomping at the bit. He said, Lord Cognito, just get me in here for this quick segment real quick. And I have to get your take real quick, as we got a lot to discuss. It's a big show. But what's your take on this whole situation? I know
all right. So my quick take, and before I start that, I want to say, Maka, it's great to see you on here. I'm glad to see you. And Hoeg, I'm hearing your lawyer take, because, as you said, you're evil by nature. I love hearing the legality of things. I love that because it helps to explain a lot of what I'm going to break down, what you've already brought up. So one of the things, and this, it comes from a lot of the talking, especially Jason Schreier, who's in a lot of things, we saw what already was coming out from the troubles that Destiny has been having from Bungie doing a lot of the the making from the very first time around and what they were experiencing with Destiny 2. We saw Activision.
We lost Bloody. Did we lose him?
We lost you, Bloody.
Bloody, come back, buddy, come back.
Houston, we have a problem.
Contract with it.
think
There you go. He's back.
Bloody, you breaking
right.
up.
Oh, he's
dropped
gone.
out. Yeah,
Hopefully we
dropped
get
out.
him back. Oh,
You know who jumped in there, right?
Yeah.
Activision pulled the cord out.
You gotta shut his mic off. He good.
Bobby Coates.
He's spilling the tea.
Well, the only other thing I would add, and I think I've talked to you about this, Lord Cognito. I don't know that I have with anybody else, but my my brother works at High Moon.
yes.
And so I can't. I don't have any specific information on anything, so there's nothing for me to disclose. But I do think Activision is now in a place where they're going to have a lot of their eggs in one very large Call of Duty shaped basket. And certainly the support studio structure that they've put together for mostly Destiny and Call of Duty is probably going to be re-examined. It's no coincidence that this all happened in the shadow of what amounts to 5 separate executive changes at the Activision level.
Right.
So that's something to pay attention to as well.
No doubt. Bloody, are you back?
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. My
okay.
my energy dropped for a second. Yeah, so what I love.
Lord, what away said, pay your internet bill, sir.
Yeah, right. I know that's typically how it goes. But the thing was that we've seen how this goes, and Hoeg can definitely can agree on that or state, because he knows how the legality and contracts work. And I know I have a couple lawyers in my family, so there's always multiple contracts that go out, especially when you're going through multiple corporations and stuff like that, and trying not to put everything under one single contract unless they can absolutely lock it down with no sort of loss to any one entity at this point. So with Activision and Bungie splitting, it's a good thing and a bad thing. And the good thing for it is that, one, they're going to continue maintaining the servers, because that was one of their biggest holding points for Bungie, was that even in the split, Activision still has to maintain the servers and everything that's going to use to be able to keep that going, to support the player base, both from the console side and all of their players, as well as what they have set with BlizzActi with supporting the people on Battle.net. So that it's not going to affect the PC players too much on that end. And the good thing is that Bungie did be able to keep the IP rights and the publishing rights and everything going on forward. Now, the biggest thing is how it's going to affect the PC players going forward, because remember, PC players did not get Destiny 1, so they were already going in half-cocked with missing a lot of what set the foundation for going into to Destiny 2. And then Destiny 2 being an exclusive to the Battle.net, because Activision were thinking at the time of launching it that they were going to be able to keep that under their umbrella and be able to keep using it as a big moneymaker, because they started to see what it can kind of bring in. Now, we've also seen with the struggles that Bungie has suffered with Destiny 2, because remember in the beginning right after the launch, they were having troubles with Warmind, Curse of Osiris, and keeping up with the
basic content structure and stuff like that.
Content and cosmetics and all that stuff really pushed into the Eververse store. Now, everyone was blaming Activision. That wasn't entirely an Activision decision. Activision was supporting it, but it was Bungie who were coming with them at that aspect. Now, the other biggest thing is that you mentioned the 2 studios with Vicarious Visions and High Moon, and them being a part of the Activision. That is going to be the biggest hindrance to Bungie, because of the fact that, remember, Bungie is a studio that has 300 some odd employees working on this, and yet that's their main team who's writing the main story and doing all the bigger base games, because they did Destiny 1 and then Destiny 2 at launch. Then they took a small portion of that team that was working as the live team to continue any added content while the next team started producing and everything that's coming next. They were having so many issues with keeping up the content. That's why Activision gave them those 2 other studios to help support the live team with everything that's coming out. That's why they had Vicarious and High Moon. They were the ones who were doing everything alongside the small sect of Bungie that was the live team. And here's the biggest thing that really shows that they were having have troubles with it, especially after the launch of Forsaken. We saw what they had envisioned from the original story writer that, don't forget, that they fired before Destiny 1, used a majority of his storyline and just slightly altered it for the Forsaken. Because remember, this time around, they did or the Crow, the big villain, but also a big help because of the fact that was his original place the original story.
Yeah, you're talking about Aldrin.
Yeah, Aldrin. Yeah. So now we're seeing that they really have written themselves in a corner that they have to go back and reuse all that script that they fired the writer for back then and recycle it now because of the fact that they've been in such a spot that they aren't being able to keep up with the story that they wanted to.
Right.
So there's a lot of back and forth with this, and the only thing that's keeping them afloat right now, especially, was that money from NetEase with getting that $100 million. And a lot of people thought it definitely will for a while, but we have to see how they're going to implement it because a lot of people thought it was them buying stock. No, it was a donation and an investment into Bungie that gave them a guaranteed. That gave one of their executives a guaranteed seat on the board of directors with Bungie, and it would be utilized in any form that Bungie saw fit to maintain in either current or future projects. That's the biggest thing. So they can use a portion of that to keep sustaining Destiny and paying their employees and whatever else they need to, whether that goes into help pushing for marketing and anything, if they do itself, if they don't sign any contracts with anyone else, as well as anything else that they're going to need to do to help keep those finances and profits coming in.
No, fair enough. I want to get Hoeg on one aspect that you said, Bloody, and this is to the NetEase. And first of all, that's two parts here. One is NetEase, and then the second part I want to shout out to L Boogie in the super chat. Thank you for the time super chat. He said, "Don't forget that fraud lawsuit." So I put that in our chat. I don't know if Hoeg, if you saw that, I also sent that to you directly. I don't know if you get a chance to see that as well, because apparently, I don't know how legitimate this is, right? Is that apparently Activision is supposedly currently under investigation for fraud following the Bungie split. So I don't know if Hoeg, if you even heard this news. I just sent you a piece. I don't know if you got a chance to look at it. I mean, literally sent it minutes ago.
I heard about this yesterday. Is that they were getting marketing fraud lawsuits against Activision.
So the two parts. One, the first part, Hoeg, about the NetEase thing, and then in reference to that, and then second about this potential investigation.
Sure. Well,
I got you working. I'm sorry, Hoeg. I got you working.
No, it's all right. As a matter of fact, you'll probably see my name in a couple of articles tomorrow on the security stuff.
Is that virtual legality 14? Is that?
I can't. I actually have to practice law occasionally and not just do YouTube videos. So we'll see. So NetEase, as far as I know, as far as I understand, it was a fairly standard working capital investment. Where they give you a big sack of money and they take a certain amount of equity and they ask for certain control rights. And I think that, as far as I know, and I haven't dove into this with any particular specificity of late, it doesn't have any kind of bells or whistles or control provisions that you wouldn't expect in that kind of relationship. So I think everybody assumes Bungie is going to build some kind of mobile Korean something, but nobody really knows for sure, and I certainly don't have any confidential information on that. On the fraud stuff, unless it's something different than what I've already been working on today, what I have seen so far is a couple of plaintiffs' firms start putting together notions of a potential class action lawsuit on a securities fraud claim, and I'll say a couple things here. You're going to get the first bits of these.
IOP exclusive. Lord Hoeg in the building.
It is, yeah. So I was asked about this by a couple reporters this morning. Wow. And one of the things is that all of you should know is that this is pretty standard operating procedure now. I would say, unfortunately, but it really depends on how you feel about securities law implementation in general. Essentially, every time a bad something happens to a company, a plaintiff's law firm starts putting together a class. That could be a security breach. That can be, the loss of credit card information. That can be an environmental spill. That can be kind of standard things that might otherwise have been disclosed against if something bad happens and there's a kind of cataclysmic looking roller coaster hill of a stock price for a day or two. Then these people put together these notions on a basis of There's a rule in the Securities Act that basically says you can't lie on the forums and you can't mislead people on the forums. You can't only tell truths that mislead people. And when Activision gives this information on Bungie, when they file what is called a Form 8K that tells the world that Bungie is separating from Activision, their stock price plummets. And were they defrauding the market because they knew this was going to happen for a period of time when they didn't disclose it? Those are questions that might come out in discovery. They might not. None of this really bothers me from a legal perspective. This is kind of the normal operating procedure for a company that experiences this. Whether or not they get a plaintiff put together, these are in general weaker claims. These are not the kind of fraud claims you traditionally think of as fraud. Oh, the guy moved $1 million and made it 50,000 and an expense. All the things you think about that are truly lies. This is more along the lines of when they filed their quarterly report in November, they've got a line in their Activision publishing description that says we have a long-lived alliance with Bungie to develop their Destiny universe, and that sentence exists untouched as of November. And were the people that bought stock between November and January, were they being deceived in some fashion? Is the claim. Most of those get kicked out because fraud requires what we call knowledge, or what we really call, when we're being fancy lawyeries, scienter. Okay. In that they have to have the intent to deceive. And so it's a hard claim to make. And what happens in these cases is they put the class together, and then Activision would seek to have it immediately dismissed. And if they do get it dismissed, it's gone. And if they don't, then you settle, because there's no point in going through the whole process of the entire class action. So that'll be the big key, and that'll be 4 to 6 months out from here if they get a class put together.
Oh, thank you for that. That was huge.
Broad strokes, it doesn't bother me. It's not that unusual, but obviously you'd prefer not to be being looked at for a potential securities fraud claim.
Gotcha. So it's just more the optics of it is just really bad, opposed to the circumstances being terrible. Like,
yeah, the way the Securities Exchange Act works is you have a private cause of action for one of these lies, and so every firm, every lawyer that specializes in these is constantly looking at the stock market for what exactly you saw in the Activision, and then potentially trying to put together a class. Because when you've got a securities law class action, essentially the lawyers make between 40 and 60% of the ultimate damages claim. This is where you start getting into why people hate lawyers, and it's this kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
Okay,
man. Let me jump in, man, because you guys, everyone is not bloody. Thank you.
Yeah, you just don't want people running around with the "Thank God Bungie got out right now because these dudes is on the fraud." Like,
salute 108 Dragon. He said the Law and Order edition of my Law Podcast. Thank you, sir. Salute Meds. Oh, my boy Lord Meds with the super chat. Thank you, sir. Bloody, you got to say something before you head out?
Yeah, I want to say something. I was like, Hoeg, I'm glad that you gave that description that you did, because that's some interesting stuff that not a lot of people understand when it comes to the backside of lawsuits, especially with class actions like that. And I got to learn a fancy new word. I like to sound it. Scienter?
Scienter, yes, scienter. It's like a magic word. It's like a Harry Potter word. You actually have a
yes.
Cool, man. Absolutely. A Hoeg dropping jewels in here, man. Let me jump in.
They got the fast. Did I lie? Did I deceive you?
The internet connection, boy. You got to
get
off
internet,
the
Switch. I might have to mute you right now. It's a little rough, but I'm gonna jump in. Real quick. So yeah, man, it's so much to unpack here. And over the years, I'm kind of with Maka, man. It's like my unwavering love for this damn franchise. I mean, despite the many flaws the game has, and of course, I have my bias because I love the game. But in my opinion, it's the precise gunplay. It's still unmatched. It's the best 3 to 6 man cooperative experience as far as console, as far as in-game activity, and as far as raids. Don't get me started with the music. But my initial thoughts were just wow. Like, Bungie has some great legal representation, in my opinion, in negotiation to walk away with full ownership of this IP. I mean, this is definitely megaton of information. As far as the deal now, I'm again with Maka in the sense that from the Activision standpoint, don't get me wrong, I'm happy that they have their independence, and we always want a creator to be able to do what they envision. And we know the relationship was rocky at some point, right? But we also have to be clear too that Activision stepped away from the standpoint of saying, hey, you know what, like, we don't feel this investment is generating what we intended it to. You know, so that's the key also aspect that people are not realizing. And then, like Bloody was saying, like moving forward, you know what I'm saying? Like all that responsibility like falls now on Bungie. You can sit there and we can demonize Activision as much as you want, right? But one thing I know, when that marketing was on point, you know, when you got those trailers, you got that information, it was on point, and at the same time, it was done in a bigger scope. And then you had the high moons, you had the vicarious visions. You know, all this now falls on them, and that's a big deal. I don't want anyone to kind of minimize it. So we're going to see what happens with the future of the franchise. You know what I'm saying? You know, also as well as this partnership with NetEase. You know what I'm saying? You know, obviously, you know, some people are going to say, you know, oh, they traded an evil publisher for an evil investor. We don't know what that aspect is. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to speculate on that. You know what I'm saying? Also, like Lord Hoeg said, you know, as far as the future going forward with the next quote unquote comet, right? That DLC, how does that structure going forth? And you know, at this point, you know, multi-plat or not, it really doesn't matter. What happens to me is bottom line, you know, ultimately I would love to see some type of cross-play or cross-progression in the future. I feel the community deserves that. You know, never in a million years that I think this would happen. So that's my thoughts on it. 2 super chats before we move on. I give it to Hoeg. One, Lord Meds, he said, what studios with $2 super chat, what studio makes better Halo though, Bungie or 343? I think we all got the answer to that one. I don't know if I'm doing
it's not really much of a question, is it?
Yeah, not much. And then Lord Kid Smooth in the building with the super chat. Who makes a better? Oh yeah, better Halo 343. But again, with the, I think we got the same thing, man. But Lord Hoeg, I'll let you rap, man. Because first of all, thank you for coming in on this last minute and appreciate the super knowledge, man. And like I said, you're always welcome to join the room. You know, with the tremendous legal knowledge. Informing gamers of what we don't know about.
Yeah, you just have to teach me how to get a logo up there instead of like this black screen.
Oh yeah. We got to get that going. We got to get that whole Lord shining, man. I need to see that.
I thought you was getting ready up. You know what I'm saying? I was like, he gonna jump and he gonna show his face like you did last.
I explained that nobody wants to see my face right now. I'm still recovering from a bit of a head cold. So.
But overall, man, just, you know, I'll let you put the cap on the cherry on the Sunday with this topic. You know, moving forward, you know, how do you feel, you know, about this?
I think it's exciting. I love Destiny. Obviously, I think that mistakes were made going from 1 to 2. I miss the old Destiny 1 planets. I would like to see them all incorporated. I think in the games as a service world that we're moving into, Destiny is a perfect fit for that, but it needs to be kind of rebuilt from the ground up. So it wouldn't surprise me if you saw essentially all the assets that they've got for Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 and all the comments and everything else made into a Destiny universe type product. Since they do own all the intellectual property, they could do that. And they could build something really big and with kind of the free-to-play elements. And then they too could be sued for the dances that they incorporate in their games at some point in the future.
They could be part of that Fortnite lawsuit?
Sure. I mean, that's why they're going to get in bed with Epic, is because they'll already have all the legal defenses ready to go.
Oh, man, Hoeg is the best.
He on this Epic. We don't want to hear that. Phil, you hear that? Yo, Phil.
Speaking of Epic, we'll probably transition, man. If guys got to leave, I understand. It's cool. I know we're running a little late. You know, definitely we heard the Epic news as far as Division 2 kind of leaving steam at the altar. This was Lord Addict's topic, so I'll just jump off real quick. And obviously we heard this news breakdown, and you know, it looks like they have this defection going on, and you know, they announced it, you know, in favor of the Epic Store, that Division 2, a huge get. You know, Lord Maka, Lord Hoeg, I don't know if he's still here, if he wants to talk about it, but you know, what do you guys feel about this? You know, Division 2, how impactful is this?
In news to absolutely no one, people like money. And yeah, Epic has money, and then a store that gives you more money for what you sell. So I'm not very surprised. Obviously, it's a little bit of a risk taking your game off of Steam, but it's a calculated risk that I imagine they sat down and they crunched the numbers, and it made sense. They're making a lot more money per sale, and like, look, it's not like Uplay is a thing, really. So what does it matter? Like, the thing about PC gamers is they'll kind of play. They'll launch their games for whatever they need to launch them. I don't think they really care.
Interesting.
It's nice to have everything on Steam all in one place, but like I don't think no one is like, you know, there's no Steam the podcast where all the gamers only play Steam games. I think as long as you have that PC and you have the hardware and you want to play the game, you'll figure out a way to play it.
Absolutely. I don't know if we still have the incredible Lord Hoeg with us still, or is he?
Oh yeah, you do. I didn't know whether you wanted me to pop off or not. Right now,
no, I want you to stay. I just
Brady shred, folks. So, yeah,
however long we can hold you, man. I thought you were sick, so it's a blessing you're still here. I
got a glass of water. I'm good. I got the football on. I think this is a super important story. I think you might have seen me tweet about it, but basically, I did a video about this at the end of the year when Steam released their top 12, their platinum class of video games that had released. And the thing that really jumped out at me was that Ubisoft was the last man standing in terms of the big publishers that were really making headway on Steam. Because you've got Battle.net doing all of Activision stuff, because you got Bethesda moving a lot of their stuff off to theirs, because you've got Origin for EA, Ubisoft, yeah, they released their stuff on Uplay, but they also released their stuff on Steam. So Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Far Cry 5 held 2 of the spots of the top 10 on Steam. And so I said, you know, that's what Epic and Steam are really fighting over right now is what's going to happen to Ubisoft. And so when Division 2 dropped that hammer on what turned out to be a slightly exciting news day for the video game industry, that was a very big deal to me. Now, I think they're testing the waters. I think it's nice to get 88% of the money, but if you're getting 88% of, you know, 1 million eyeballs instead of 100 million, that's not going to work. Right. But I think Ubisoft's calculated decision on this is, hey, we don't need a lot of help telling people Division 2 exists. Right. So you're going to go find it if you're interested in playing it. And 88% instead of 70% is a heck of a lot of money for Ubisoft to make. And if it does work out how they'd like it to work out, I don't see them going back. And this is exactly the kind of thing Epic needed to really start pushing more and more eyeballs over to their service, as well as giving away really cool free games. Go get Edith Finch. It's awesome.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing.
I really like this Epic stuff.
I love it, man. It's great. Lord Sov, man, what did you feel when the news broke, the whole Epic Store thing, Ubisoft?
I think it's great. I'm always up for anybody disrupting the status quo. I am, especially...
Anarchist, this guy is anarchist.
So what's most interesting about this to me is that this really puts Steam in a position where they really, really have to reevaluate their practices. They haven't really, despite what Epic has been doing, despite what Discord has been doing, they haven't necessarily changed anything in terms of like game cuts and stuff like that. Not much has changed. So they're sort of holding ground and saying we're the juggernaut. We don't feel necessarily threatened yet, but that should not be the case. They really need to start reevaluating. And the same goes for Discord. If Discord, despite 200 million users on Discord, they don't have a huge AAA game on their exclusive to their service just yet. So they need to think about that because Epic is looking to snap up all of these. And when it comes to the Ubisoft conversation, they've already said there's going to be more Ubisoft games on there. So I don't know how long this partnership goes for, but you can pretty much look at whatever big games down the pipeline for Ubisoft coming onto the Epic Store in the PC space. So they really need to start evaluating how much money they're going to throw out there to get some more of these exclusives. And it's for me, again, I think competition just raises the bar all the way around. It forces you to reevaluate your practices. And I think only we get the best out of all of that. So I just want to see them start changing this stuff up.
Absolutely. Actually, Lord King, what do you feel, man? What's going on? What do you feel about this?
You watch somebody that's steadfast in their ways, and it's like they're not really noticing that these dudes is creeping up on the side, and little by little, stuff is being snatched away from them from this guy and that guy. And I remember when Steam was the end all be all for PC gamers when it established itself in that area, right? Okay, so you go there, all your stuff is there. Now you have these options that's all over the place. And once one of these dudes, and Hoeg likes the Epic Store, and the reason why I say it is because that's a big thing, right? Once it starts clicking and everybody starts to gravitate towards the one thing, you're going to see a demise at Steam rapidly. It's just gonna drop out. The floor is gonna fall out from them. And me personally, I hope they can switch it around. I hope they can flip it around. But Epic is offering something that a lot of dudes can't offer. Like Steam can't offer, if you use our engine, you get this back and you put the game on our stuff. So they don't have that option to do that. And I think you're looking at a dinosaur actually going out the pasture.
I hear you, man.
It makes sense. Like, remember back in the day when Source was a big thing, the Source engine, and again, they reached the point where it felt like they weren't really making games anymore. They would just, sort of, that picture that people paint of, Gabe Newell sitting on a pile of gold that like Scrooge McDuck, like, you know what I mean, and they're not making games. And again, maybe that's not necessarily true, but again, it comes back to bite you when you're not moving innovation forward. Like, there's no reason why they shouldn't be making more games. There's no reason why the Source engine shouldn't be at the forefront of these engines that are being utilized today. There's just no reason for it.
You said the Source engine, and I was just like, what, the Source? 5 mics to the Source. Like, you said the Source engine, and I said Nas dropped the new album.
Oh my God.
It felt like you took it to a throwback Thursday. Like, see, that's
about the Source engine.
No, I didn't forget about it, but it's just been so pushed out of your memory. Like, that's the dinosaur.
For the record, as a point of clarification,
yes,
I like the Epic store. Yes, I like the Discord store. I'm a fan of watching. I think somebody said disruptive events. I think that Steam has for a long time gotten to sit on 7030 and gotten to sit there for a while. And I think they're doing the right thing by essentially holding back right now and saying, let's see what happens. But I, for one, love the fact that Epic is almost like the nouveau riche has come in and just accidentally made $300 million a month and now says, what are we going to do with this sack of money? And says, well, instead of hoarding it or doing something disreputable with it, let's start a game store because we think we've looked at the numbers and we can do it at 88 instead of 70 and come at us, Valve. And I think that benefits a lot of folks. The only people it really doesn't benefit is Valve. And to the extent that I don't have ownership interest in Valve, I think it's a great thing for everybody ultimately. But there's going to be a period of time where there's a lot of stuff that is disruptive. People don't like it. People are uneasy. If I were marketing for Epic Store, I wouldn't necessarily have gone the direction of just signing exclusives. I would have tried to pass on a portion of the 18% as between developers and consumers, because I think if you can become the store that is selling the Steam $15 games for $13, which still gets the developer more money, I think if you become that place, then you're going to take over the market. But outside of the fact that I don't love exclusives, I think it's great that there are more and more entrants that have a real viable economic model to really create change in this environment.
Absolutely agree. I mean, you completely nailed it. I want to shout out actually Lord K Mega in the super chat. Thank you. So he said GRG showing love to the Iron Lords. Thank you. Much appreciated, sir. Definitely. Hoeg, you nailed it, man. I'm with you, man. I think just the competition is great. I like how aggressive they're being. They're not playing around, and listen, like Lord Maka said, money talks, man. More money. That's what people want to hear, So we saw Ashen over there. I've got that other game that's kind of like a Dead Cells thing. I've got the name of it off top. But it looks fantastic, and people are going over there. So we'll see how this plays out moving forward. If more people continue to kind of jump ship, it'll be interesting with Destiny as a Destiny fan to see what happens with that, how aggressive, Epic gets. And then the way Epic is moving right now, according to some news, they apparently, Unity has some argument with some other dev, and now, Epic's encouraging developers away from Unity. So it's like Epic's got their hand in everything, right?
You know what my favorite part of that story was? The part that came out that said that Tim Sweeney and Epic had only decided to do that day.
Yes.
That they read the articles and that they got talked to by Insoluble. And they said, yeah, sure, let's do this. Let's try to destroy Unity while we're at it.
Like, how aggressive. But you got to love it, because at the end of the day, as a gamer, competition is good for us.
It is. you love it until I don't know how old everybody is here.
I'm old.
Electronic Arts used to be the disruptor, right? When they started out, this was a group of developers that had to get away from the evil publisher because they weren't allowed to have credits in their games, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody was on board Electronic Arts and Pinball Maker and everything else. This is, again, I'm really old, so I apologize to your audience. But at that point, they were what Epic is right this second, even though Epic's been in the business a lot longer. And now they're Electronic Arts. So you got, whatever that line is from The Dark Knight does happen to folks. And so I think it's great that they're disruptive right now. But, Steam was Valve was a company for a long time.
Shout out to Johan Zelviega. He said, I'm telling you, Hoeg likes to see the world burn.
I believe in creative destruction.
Creative destruction. Oh man, this is a fantastic topic. All right, we got two more. We got to fly through because we've got Maka here. I don't know how long we got him too. Solve. Can we do a quick CES roundup, sir?
Yeah. So last week we had CES 2019, and like every year, obviously all the new tech that gets announced and talked about, people get excited about. I know we're all excited about the diaper monitors and the poop.
You know what I was really excited about? That Uber jet thing that they had, it was the flying Uber car.
Yeah, the flying Uber car. You had the walking car that looks like Claptrap from a Borderlands. But what I wanted to focus on was really what the technologies that were presented that I think are going to inform the console experience in the coming generation, right? And I decided to focus on three particular things: 8K, 5G, and of course graphics improvements, and by both NVIDIA and AMD. So let's start with 8K real quick. Like for 8K, all the major manufacturers talked about 8K in some way, shape, or form. The thing about 8K at this point, right, it's still sort of a pipe dream. It's not there yet. It's not, especially for mass consumption by the consumers. But by the time we look at when these new consoles are looking to launch, it sort of makes sense, because I think when you talk about years ago when they tried to when the entire industry tried to push us to like 3D TVs, right? And in the end, it came off like it was just a gimmick, and it didn't really work, and it crashed and burned very quickly. When they started focusing on 4K, that's a more viable upgrade that everyone can see. It's something that makes sense over the long term, and it isn't gimmicky. It doesn't require extra peripherals, anything like that. So I think 8K is in that same line where eventually 8K will be something that's viable for the mass consumer. It's not there yet. But again, I think entertainment and movies in particular and gaming are the ones that push that narrative forward. And by 2020, 2021, we start looking at these consoles. I'm not saying we'll have 8K compatibility in these consoles when they start, but if you look at maybe a mid-gen refresh of these next-gen consoles, we could see some sort of 8K support. So I think it's interesting that they started talking about that now. The next thing that I saw that is the most obvious one, right, is all of the graphics stuff. Obviously, NVIDIA is pushing their ray tracing. They're pushing their super sampling, their deep learning super sampling. And they showed a lot of mobile processors. They showed the desktop processor, the RTX 2060. They showed the mobile versions of these processors that are super powerful, that are basically in almost all laptops. That are coming out within the next year, the year and a half. So what's interesting about that, although we know NVIDIA isn't really, they aren't the ones who are going to be making the tech for our future consoles. Switch is built on Tegra mobile sort of tech, stuff like that. So for me, it's just what's interesting about NVIDIA is that they're taking a completely different track than AMD. Usually NVIDIA comes out, they're the first ones to come out. They're very expensive, but they're at the forefront of whatever the newest tech is. And usually what happens is AMD comes up from behind. They make it cheaper, more power efficient, and generally in the same performance area as an NVIDIA product for a considerably lower price. What's happening that we're seeing now is that for the first time in a long time, they're diverging paths. NVIDIA is really focusing on RTX and deep learning super sampling, whereas AMD with the new Ryzen chips and with the Radeon 7 announcement they're not focusing on that at all. They're all about pushing resolution. So again, 8K, and they're pushing frame rates. That's what they're pushing, performance above all of this other new stuff that NVIDIA is pushing. And what's most interesting about that in the console space is AMD is working with both PlayStation and Xbox on these future consoles. So again, I don't think we were speculating way back. Do we see ray tracing and any of that stuff in any of our consoles moving forward? Right. I don't know that we do see that stuff. Maybe within the next 8 years, maybe decade, because of these partnerships with AMD.
And it's very resource intensive. So yeah, continue.
Right. So that's pretty interesting. And we saw Phil Spencer up on stage with the CEO of AMD talking about, you know, that partnership. So I think it's interesting to see, because I don't think we see any of those bells and whistles that NVIDIA is talking about in the console space, right? And then the next big thing that I saw was 5G, right? Obviously, 5G is the next step in sort of wireless communication. And they've been talking about phones coming out this year, starting this year with 5G capabilities. I don't really see us having a big rollout of 5G until at least next year. But again, Microsoft has been talking about xCloud and how 5G is integral to that. And then we've been seeing more and more companies, obviously 5G in terms of the phone and mobile space, the big guns there are coming out with 5G phones and starting to talk about their 5G networks and how they plan to implement this stuff. And then on the gaming side, we're seeing Google jumping in. We're seeing Amazon jumping in. Obviously, Microsoft for xCloud, Verizon jumping in.
Yeah, what's that about?
So 5G is the backbone to all of this. And again, I just think the industry has shown us that they're all moving in that same direction. So this isn't a pipe dream anything. This isn't Microsoft talking about pie in the sky. This is real. This is coming, and everybody's on board pretty much. So what do you guys think about this? Am I wrong? Am I reaching? What do you guys think?
Let's get Maka, man. Let me get you jump off. What do you think about all this stuff?
Oh boy! All right, so let's start off this part with you can direct your angry tweets at me over on Twitter. I'm about to say something controversial, and I'm probably going to offend a lot of people. I've had this position for a very long time. I think resolution in gaming is wildly overrated, and I think people put way too much time and effort into 4K, and counting the pixels on their monitor. In my opinion, 4K gaming doesn't always make sense. If I analyze a scenario and I have a game running at 50%, and that game, I have two options. I can go to 4K, or I can stay at 1080p and up the shadows and the textures and the frame rate and the performance and the particle effects and the fire. I'm choosing 1080p every single time. And I don't know. At some point, we got the Xbox One X can do 4K, and everyone kind of grabbed onto that. Right. And it's dope that it can do 4K. And if you have a 4K TV, I understand it looks phenomenal. Yes. But I think this push to pixels is not a good push. And I think people would be surprised to play games at 1080p or lower resolutions that are like completely maxed out. I think they would be surprised at how great that experience is compared to an experience where it's just more pixels. So with that being said, like pushing to 8K to me sounds like a terrible idea, because we can't even get 4K running at 30 frames per second for a lot of the games coming out. I played the Resident Evil demo on my PC. I played it in 1080p, but I maxed out all the graphical settings, and that game looked 10 times better than any 4K game I've ever played. So it's not as easy as more pixels means better. You can play an indie game. I can make Tetris in 8K. Having more pixels for Tetris doesn't get me excited. You got to do things with the power that's more than just pushing pixels onto the screen. And I think even playing games like Shadow of the Tomb Raider that have multiple settings, you can do 4K, you can do a frame rate, you can do like a texture kind of one. Switching between them, you might realize that 4K isn't always the best option. For some games, it is a fantastic option. And I'm very much a proponent of like driving the technologies to get us where we're going. And I'm not saying 4K gaming was a bad step or we should have never taken it. It's definitely a step we need to take. And I'm glad the Xbox One X is powerful enough to do 4K for those who want it. But at the same time, I don't like pushing pixels onto the screen isn't always the most important thing in my opinion. This is something I touted a lot back in the TXR days. Everyone was just so focused on pixels. But yeah, man, like 8K gaming, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. 8K gaming is 4 times more than 4K gaming. And 4K gaming is not something we can really do that well either. A lot of people who have, PCs that cost $10,000, they're still playing in 1440p because it doesn't always make sense to just drive more pixels to the screen. Nonetheless, I digress. Look, man, I don't know. When I'm given the option, I always go for like the higher textures and the particles and all that stuff. And the frame rates, most importantly, over just pushing pixels to my screen. But, everyone's different and everyone enjoys different aspects of the game, of games. And I don't think we should be thinking about 8K yet, personally. But it's always cool to see like CES like thinking way ahead of the curve.
Yeah, and I think that's what it comes down to, right? Thinking way ahead of the curve, and then thinking about what advances in tech can we show off to push the product in a way that makes it, you can see the differences, right? And so you can sell it to the average consumer. The gamer, like you said, the gamer may care more about 1080p 60 frames per second or 120 frames per second. The average consumer that they're also trying to sell this 8K TV to only wants to see how pretty it is, right? So it's just one of those things where I think it's a type of advancement in tech that shows well, right?
Well, let me say something that I love personally that not many people I think have really talked about that might be just unique to me. So apologies going in. But one of the things that I really liked in the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One era was I really loved the crossover generation games. I really think that developers in video games tend to push things as far as possible until you wind up in 25 to 30 frames land. And so since that was where they were pushing things to get it on the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 working correctly, I think that made the resolution, the graphics, the performance all the more solid and better at the higher generational level. So I love those crossovers. And I agree in terms of resolution isn't the be all and end all. I tend to lean towards resolution over frame rate in things like God of War. But the one place where I really would love to see resolutional increases is in the VR goggles. I heard you reference Tetris, but if you gave me an 8K virtual reality Tetris effect right now, you might not ever see me again.
You living your best life?
That game makes me. You have a long day. You're fighting with people on the phone. They're telling you you're terrible at your jobs, which is the day of the lawyer. So don't go to law school, kids. You get back, you put on Tetris Effect, you listen to some cool tunes. If that was at just slightly higher resolution, I think that would be the perfect game.
Fair enough. Lord King, you're a very premium gamer. So
man, I just paid $10,000 for my television. I'm not buying all the television. So they're gonna throw that right in the bushes. That 8K stuff is in the garbage.
You want the fruit roll-up television?
I don't care. I don't care nothing about that. That's a trade show. Let them trade their stuff. They're showing you what's gonna be viable years down the line. Listen, half the people that play video games, y'all playing on simples and basic systems. I know you do. All right, so half of y'all don't have 4K. No. I told you, this is the year we're gonna keep it fair, and that's it right there. So listen, y'all didn't even upgrade past 10. Y'all still rocking 720 televisions and looking at Digital Foundry like, I can't believe Xbox can't do 1080p. Shut up. Like, I'm real sick and tired of the bougie behavior. The only thing that I walked away from the trade show with was the 5G. Now, the 5G thing, that's going to hit your wallet. Remember when 2G was a thing? And then y'all went to 4G, and then your bill went up. Your bill gonna go up again, bro. Like soon, your bill's gonna look like a car note. All right, and I want you to understand, you will have Alexis on your phone. Your phone will become Alexis. All right, y'all are in so much trouble. Step your job game up. Step your job game up. You better become like Hoeg and become that lawyer so that money can come around. Listen, Trust me, I know y'all not gaming on 4K televisions. Half of y'all are gaming on them TCL televisions that's in Best Buy that was on Black Fridays.
Wow.
All right? No. Let's keep it 100% real. Because he said 8K, and they was like, yeah, you know, 8. No, you're not. Stop. All right? Let's listen. The thing that's really gonna affect us, and as far as streaming, because you want to get these streaming boxes and stuff like that for these next consoles from these companies like Verizon and Amazon and Microsoft and Sony as well, is the 5G. 5G is actually what's going to allow us to stream so you don't see the difference from disc to streaming. So that is more what we should be gearing ourselves up for, what we should be saving our bucks for, what we should be looking out for. That 8K gaming, please listen. No, that's not a thing. You see the problem that your systems are having now, trying to push the 4K 30 frames per second, and you see the frames dropping, and sometimes you can get up to 1440p. I think the sweet spot in gaming should be 1440p, 60 frames per second with all effects on.
I'm with that. Okay.
And that should be what they should target. These next systems shouldn't be targeting no 8K. Please don't do that. Yeah. And don't target something that's not realistic. Let's have a better gaming experience.
Right.
Let's push for that. I'm with Maka on this. Let's push for a better gaming experience opposed to pushing pixels that is not realistic.
Now for you, King, and I'll double down and move on. Yeah, man, it's just one of those things that obviously when you hear all this news and stuff like that, I'm a big time techie, so I love when CES comes around. You get to hear all this stuff, so I go to Solve and say, hey, what happened? You know, that kind of deal. And you know, the things that I took from it, you know, 8K to me, you know, they're trying to be ahead of the curve. At the end of the day, I don't think it's ready to be implemented in any fashion just yet. As far as gaming is concerned, again, I agree with Maka in the sense that I don't fault them for pushing 4K with the Xbox One X, but as we know, there's not a ton of 4K 60 games, right? We got to be real about that. It's mostly in that 4K 30 range, and a lot of it just comes down to it being, you know, CPU holding it back. So all I really care about with the next generation of consoles is that 4K 60 sweet spot, and the CPUs are buffed up from the current Jaguar chipset that's in the Xbox One X. So to me, that is the pinnacle that I need. You know what I'm saying? I don't really need to see anything else outside of that. If they're able to implement ray tracing, great. But I've heard, you know, shout out to Lord Brad Sands, a couple other people have said that this is very, very resource intensive, and they may look at that trade-off and say that that's not worth it right now at this stage of the gen. And the other thing I just want to say in reference to the AMD keynote, obviously we saw Phil come on stage, so we can pretty much guess Solve, right? You know, that partnership is going to continue as far as the Anaconda next generation of consoles
and whatever it comes beyond. Yeah,
exactly. So that, to me, when I see Phil on stage, he's just inferring that, you know, this partnership is going to continue. And then we know Sony's in the building. And real quick, Solve, did we hear about that whole, you know, AMD created Navi for Sony PlayStation 5 bit?
Yeah, I mean, there's talk about around that, basically saying that higher ups at AMD were not happy with Ryzen, and it came from the fact that basically the A team was pulled to work on Navi specifically for Sony and the next generation PlayStation. So we don't know how true this is. And I guess we won't have any point of comparison until we have an idea what Microsoft has in its box or what Sony has in their box. So, you know, it's all speculation, but it's fun to talk about nonetheless.
The one thing I'll add about 5G is like its pricing and marketing strategy is going to be super simple. It's going to just be 5G for 5Gs on a 2-year contract.
On a 2-year contract.
That's condo that Lord King told us. I will admit though, 5G is probably the thing I'm most excited for, because obviously, you know, Xbox, I'm very curious about the Project X Cloud initiative. I think if they are able to lock that in, I've said this many ILPs, if they're able to lock that in, if they're able to prove that that technology is viable and hit those markets that traditionally cannot get an Xbox console in, and they use mobile, they use the TVs, and if 5G is part of that equation and giving us less than low latency experiences with these Azure server farms, man, this could be exciting, So that's one thing I'm very curious about, and to see how that works. And they're saying right now, like on 3G and 4G, that they're kind of confident at the current state. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't know how you guys feel about that, Lord Hoeg, about the whole, and Lord Maka about the whole 5G and in reference to Project xCloud.
I actually hadn't heard anything about it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad to inform me. So, yeah, go ahead, Kid.
Christopher Hart, man. Bless your heart.
We're gonna get some because he's laughing.
When somebody says "bless your heart," they're about to say something to you.
I already know. I'm gonna give it to you, Kid. Let me just the last one. We go late. Again, soft.
Just let me close out real quick. Shout out to Sammy Prescott in the chat because he mentioned something that I looked over. Another big thing is HDMI 2.1. There's going to be a lot of TVs, 4K TVs coming out now with HDMI 2.1 support, and obviously the increased bandwidth is going to help with basically improving colors and again improving the size of the throughput of HDMI. So that's interesting. And another thing that I forgot to mention, what the heck was the other thing? Well, let me just talk real quickly. The Alienware's OLED gaming monitor, HDMI 2.1, 4K at 120 hertz. That is my.
That's yours.
That's what I want.
Thank you for your wish list. And they hit up the Iron Bank for his monitor. Thank you. All right, final time. We got to go, man. We were killing this thing. All right. We all know the Sony success numbers have come out. And last but not least, we'll do it real quick, man. Tremendous success. 91.6 million PlayStation 4s have been sold worldwide.
How is that possible? There's only 7 million people.
The console is shipping 10
Sorry,
million.
I had to.
I know. That was a control. It means the console has shipped 10 million units since the last update in July, 18 million over the past 12 months. And then obviously to Lord King's happiness, the PS4 exclusive of Christmas was Spider-Man, which sold more than 9 million copies as
Game of the year
25th, 2018. Much to Lord Addict's chagrin, I'm sad he cannot be here to hear King. Lord Hoeg and Lord Maka. There was a bet between Lord King and Lord Addict in reference to how much.
I'm wearing the red.
And we have a segment called Bend the Knee, and Lord Addict was forced to bend the knee on camera as a result of him losing the bet. So, and the last thing, obviously, PlayStation Network, they announced that they had tremendous growth, surpassing 90 million active users at the end of November 2018. So, Lord King, I'm going to start this with you.
Thank you.
I have a lot to say about these matters, and then we'll get to the panel and get out of here. What do you feel about these Sony announcements?
Christopher, bless your heart. When we go to the next generation, you start from zero, right? So that 91 is not going anywhere with you, bro. Out of the door. So all that you talk about, they got the masses. They don't have anything. They go to the store with zero. Both of them walk in with goose eggs. So you got hope, brother, and hope is what you need. All right, now back to facts, brass tacks. They are out here selling, and they did it. They appealed to the cheap gamer. They appealed to the wallet conscious dude who walked in and he had $400 and it was a $500 console. He said, "I'm going to go with the $400." Okay, so we all know that's where it went down with. Y'all can say bad messaging. We're gonna go with cheap gamer. That's what I'm gonna go with. And I understand if Microsoft was at the same price, maybe that would have happened because they had more games. Who cares, right?
You think really some people were uncomfortable maybe with the camera facing them at all times all the game?
Yo, you know that was a troll that they put inside. You know how you tweet so and the stuff starts spreading like wildfire. Like tomorrow you're gonna find out that Activision is under investigation for fraud. Oh, wait a second. And Bungie got out at the right time. That's not real. Hoeg just broke it down to you exactly what it was. It was some minor thing, and stuff gets blown out of proportion. It's cool. We don't play sales figures or numbers. None of us here are on Sony's board, as far as I know. I didn't get a check yet at all. So all we doing is marketing their stuff, and that's great. Listen, I hire them. All right. So when I go purchase a game, I'm putting them to work. If they do not perform in my house, they get out. Excognito, he purchased one of my pros from me. Okay, you didn't perform, you get the hell out.
Only one of them. Only one of them.
Only one. Yeah,
I had three. I brought three.
Premium.
One had to go.
Experience, this guy. Continue, Gabe.
No, it's just I get so. What every week we gotta hear? Oh, this week we sold 200 mil, and then their fan base is like, ah! Just like Maka said. He doesn't care who buy Trials. Trials is coming out in February, and he's going to buy Trials, and he's going to enjoy Trials. Gaming is a very selfish experience until you go into multiplayer stuff. Mm-hmm. We don't really care where we get our games from. I could play on a toilet bowl literally with 2 controllers. Literally, it could be a toilet bowl, and I did with the Jaguar CD.
Oh, damn. Oh, yeah.
Remember, it looked just like a toilet bowl.
It did.
We did not care. So please, would y'all stop with this, holding down the fort. There's no fort to hold down. You were just being cheap and you just didn't buy another system. That's all. All right. Your financial situation dictates your dedication. That's it.
So you try to say, King, that if in a perfect world, if gamers had the resources to attain both, that things would be different, and you think this comes down to a purely financial situation?
Yes.
Oh my God!
Obviously, seriously, everybody probably on this panel right now have multiple ways to game, especially through your cell phones. Mm-hmm. So we upgrade our cell phones to play a better version of Tetris.
8K Tetris,
right? So, but we love games. So we're gonna play all over the place. Financially, you like Maka said, when your friend had a system, you too had that system back in the days, because we didn't have the resources to purchase multiple systems. As you got older, you purchased multiple systems because you didn't want to go over to his house and wait for him to pass you the controller. No. So no, man, it's financial situations dictate that dedication to whatever systems that you are loyal to at the moment.
Fair enough. Lord Hoeg, want to talk about Sony's success real quick? How did you feel about the news?
Well, I think it's great that anybody has a success at any point in the industry. I agree with King on this insofar as I do think that in a perfect world, everybody would have everything and there wouldn't be this console war type situation. I think from a historical perspective, what I worry about with Sony is that at least for about 3 rounds of generations now, we've had essentially the winner completely fall on their face with what they plan for the generation following their big win.
The conspiracy.
And
Lord Saul's point, he says, what's your terminology, Saul, with the next generation?
What they always find a way to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory and trip over themselves in a way that makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, I think they get haughty. So I think 7 years or however long the generation lasts is just enough time for these brands, whether it's Microsoft or whether it's Sony or whether it's even Nintendo to some extent with the Wii, to kind of believe their own press clippings and believe that people just love them for them and not for whatever their product offering is, and then release something crazy like the PlayStation 3 or the initial press conference for the Xbox One, which had whatever the 600 references to television. And that I think that if I had any concern right now, it's that Sony touting all this stuff, saying we're skipping E3. Here's an E3 where you're going to travel through a church and we're going to show you nothing.
I was there. It was amazing. No one knew what the hell was going on.
And all this stuff seems to suggest to me that maybe they're getting back into their haughty phase. And does that PlayStation 5 suddenly have a hologram person that talks to you that makes it cost $800 and things that people don't want? Versus what Microsoft's doing, and I always really like the underdog or the person without that market position. Their backward compatibility initiative has been utterly unbelievable how fantastic it's been. Well, and that's really cool to see that innovation where where the Xbox One was so vastly underpowered that It's great to see the X out there doing great things. That's where I play the majority of my games right now. To see that backward compatibility, and my instinct is that the Xbox, what I presently think is going to be called the Xbox Infinite, comes out, that it's going to be what everybody wants versus the PlayStation 5, which is maybe going to have some of that old Sony gristle on it.
I mean, like I've always said, Lord Maka, it's their turn to mess up. So yeah, I wouldn't. I'm sorry, Lord Hoeg. I would not put it past them. And then there are certain things that come out, again, rumor mill stuff that I think Cognito sent me a link to this. Is his name Brad Sams?
Yeah, Brad Sams. Yes.
Brad Sams was talking about speculation about the RAM that's going to be in the PS5, and he's hearing 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 RAM, which at this point is super expensive and does not put that console in anywhere near the $400 range. Mind you, the systems probably aren't coming out till 2020, so there could be a reduction in price by then. Right. But we're talking. They're not looking at trying, at least from, if that speculation is true, they're not looking to give you a budget conscious console. In addition to that, like what you were saying, like, you know, having some sort of like some sort of person in the console talking to you, whatever, some sort of weird technology that nobody wants. Right. He also indicated that 8 gigabytes of that RAM would be allocated solely to the function of the OS, which is irregular and high for just the function of the OS. So what he's thinking is that there is some sort of underlying thing that's taking up all of that RAM that isn't necessarily just to run the normal day-to-day stuff that
partner with Amazon.
Do you think in conjunction the rumor is that again, I don't know how
true it is. PS Now, yeah,
as far as virtual reality inclusion and things of that nature, PSVR.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it would be a big mistake to try to force VR on people. I think that would be a total bonehead move.
That's a Connect type mistake, and I'm saying that as someone who absolutely adores VR. That if you force it, you get that extra expensive console in the box, and then suddenly everybody's playing Xbox. So that's exactly the kind of thing that I would expect from Sony's PlayStation 5. So there you go.
Guys,
it's their turn. It's their turn.
Listen, let me jump in before I give it to Maka, because y'all gotta be crazy. Yeah, listen, at the end of the day, you know, I hear what you guys are saying. They have to have caution in terms of their hubris, right? You know, obviously they have dominated.
The word.
You know, and it's just, you know, it's one of those things, man, where it's just like you do watch them. I am concerned that they skipped E3 entirely. I am concerned that it's going to go about like 12 months or whatever it's going to be without any type of show for their base. You know, they skipped PSX, you know, they skipped, you know, another show, you know, I don't know if Gamescom or whatever it was. And, you know, you want to do something to invigorate your base so that they know. Now, the vibe that I get is obviously, like Lord Maka said, you know, last year's show that, you know, even though the titles were impressive, you know, the setup could use a little work. There was only 4 games that they've kind of showed, you know, repeated times in the past. So the consensus is they didn't have a lot to show. So it just seems that, you know, maybe a lot of this stuff is in between, you know, the end of the PS4 generation, but yet not ready to show us the games that in theory will be on PS5. So at the end of the day, we have to admit, though, they do have the mind share coming into the generation. And, you know, obviously this success is tremendous. I mean, Spider-Man, I didn't even see that coming, to be honest. I mean, I knew it would be successful. My heart was saying King was going to win that bet, you know, with Addict. But I didn't think this successful. You know what I'm saying? Like that, to me, 9 million, that's insane. You know, that's tremendous.
That $200 bundle was the bundle of the Christmas. So, I mean, I think it really sold a lot of Spider-Man.
Absolutely, completely agree. So that's what I got. Lord Maka, I'll let you end this thing up so we can get out of here. What do you think about Sony's success and, you know, moving forward?
Yeah, I'll try not to go too long. It's great that Sony's doing great. I think a lot of it does have to do with that $100 price difference when they first came out. A lot of it has to do with the Kinect being, you know, adding to the price of the Xbox and making the Xbox the less sexy option because it was more expensive but also less powerful. I think at the beginning, Xbox shot themselves in the foot with the messaging and the DRM. I think that was the biggest thing is Xbox not knowing how to message things. But like right now, you know, Sony's doing great. The Xbox, I don't really have many comments. Like I think it ebbs and it flows. And I think next generation we could see the opposite, and then the generation after that we'll see the opposite again. And they're going to kind of go back and forth. We'll see. My biggest kind of takeaway was just it was very interesting to me to see like Sony be like 91 million, and then Xbox goes 2 billion zombies were shot in space.
I'm with you, Maka. Let's keep it real, though. Let's keep it real. Don't you think that has to do with, at some point, if you're not winning the FPD every month?
Oh, no. It's the right thing to do. Yeah. But I'm just saying it's interesting to see the difference of approach.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
So, yeah.
No doubt, man. Thank you for the input.
But no. Xbox is killing it. Backwards compat's dope. Like Xbox Game Pass is legit, like changing the world of gaming. There's a lot of really great reasons. Like Xbox has been slowly winning back the confidence of consumers. And I think when people go to make their next purchase, they're going to think about all the things Xbox has been doing properly in the last couple months or years even. And then they'll also think about maybe the not so cool things Sony's kind of been doing. And I think we'll see more people give like a good consideration to Xbox the next generation.
No doubt.
Game Pass is amazing. I mean, one thing I would add to that is that I was setting up my father, who is obviously older than me, on an Xbox for Christmas, and he had such warm feelings towards. I said, "Hey, just get this Game Pass because you're going to be set up with however many games you want to try out," and he had such warm feelings towards what that was. That you talk about mind share. There are people that are maybe not as hobbyist gamers as we are that are getting in there, buying an Xbox One and saying, "Oh, I can just get this thing. I can try out all these different experiences and feel really good about Microsoft giving way more value than the price of that license." And I really think that's working out for them, certainly on the margins and certainly maybe among the core as well.
I agree, man. I think that is could be one of the secret weapons, and we know for sure that they are definitely pushing hard with Game Pass, especially with Project xCloud, a lot of other initiatives that they got going on. So it'll be interesting to see, man. This is good stuff. Shout out to Kids Move in the chat. He said he blames social media, 2017 and Scalebound for Xbox issues. Go for it. But let's get out of here, man. That's the ILP poll this week. With the recent announcement of Bungie parting ways from Activision and assuming full publishing rights of the Destiny franchise, what do you think is the best course of action for Bungie moving forward? The choices are: A, remain independent and multi-plat. Control your own destiny. B, hey girl, it's Phil and Microsoft Online 1 for you. Let's get back together. Or C, change your heart. Sony's 91 million will have us out here living our best life.
Epic needs to be on that list.
I might throw Epic in there too. That is the question. Those are the choices. Please rock the ILP dating game poll as it goes out. Lord Maka, Lord Hoeg, an absolute pleasure to have both of you in the realm. Last minute, much appreciated. Let's start off with Lord Maka, man. Tremendous gaming history and tremendous content and game reviews. Where can the fine people find you?
Yo, thank you so much for having me. One thing before I get into my self promo, if you want to like support Xbox, the community and stuff, there's a huge Halo tournament happening today. It's actually a Halo 3 tournament, and there will be tens of thousands of people watching a Halo 3 tournament in 2019. That's pretty dope. Wow. Twitch.tv/UGC. It's called the Halo Classic. I'm going to be watching it tonight, and you should too. Not sponsored by any means. I just really like Halo. As for me, you can catch me at youtube.com/Maka91 Productions, twitch.tv/Maka91 Productions, or on Twitter at Maka1991. Couldn't find a better handle than that. I make game guides, walkthroughs, tutorials, achievement guides, trophy guides, and the likes. I recently put out a video on Aftercharge, which is recently on Game Pass. And yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Dude, Maka, man, when I see you, the first round's on me. Hopefully I see you again at E3. And keep doing what you're doing. Please subscribe to this man's channel. He's doing tremendous work. This is the achievement guide and walkthrough king. Like, if you want to learn how to get something in collectibles, this guy is your man, as well as great reviews. And he's been doing it a long time. Please subscribe to this guy. It's a pleasure to have you in the room. And hopefully we get you back on soon.
Thanks for having me.
Lord Hoeg, the Lord of virtual legality, dropping gems and knowledge all throughout the podcast. The chat was enamored with you. Lord Hoeg, where can the fine people find you? And what do you have going on next?
Yeah, well, and I apologize, my voice is just about done, so I'm glad we're wrapping up. I started a YouTube channel this last year where I do a little bit of legality, a little bit of virtual, to talk about stuff like video games, talk about software, and talk about the business side of the industry as well. So my most recent video was on the Bungie Activision split. The videos I had before that talked extensively about the Star Control Origins and DMCA kerfuffle. Which is a legal technical term. And you can find me on Twitter at HoegLaw, HoegLaw, on YouTube under the same, my website, my blog, they're all under the same. It's all HoegLaw. Thankfully, I have an odd enough name that I could get that in all major locations, but I love talking about this stuff. And obviously, I like to share what I know from a legal and business side of things.
Absolutely, man. Continue to do what you're doing. I mean, it's tremendous work. And it's really a service to gamers to really understand the legal aspects of it. And your experience in corporate law has been absolutely tremendous. And it is an honor to have you in here discussing these things in the realm of the Lord. So thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Lord Sov, where can the find you? Because we know Lord Hoeg, actually Lord Addict. I lost some power today. So we got to jump straight into you. But yeah, where can the find you? What you got going on?
First of all, big shout out to Lord Hoeg and Lord Maka. 1 o'clock came and things were kind of touch and go, man. Like our cameras weren't working. We didn't know where you guys were. It looked like it was going to be a train wreck of a show, and you guys came through it absolutely.
Saved the day for us.
Thank you so much, guys, for coming through. Beyond that, you guys can find me on Twitter, LordSovILP, and on PSN and Xbox Live, BX Sovereign. Real quick, we have a quick re-roll. Shout out to Lord Snaldo for graciously paying forward his Teespring win. So I'm going to do that really quickly. And
he didn't want us to see him in the leggings.
He was not about that.
He's a big boy. He ain't like that.
So real quick, the new winner of the Teespring giveaway is Lord Death Singer. Wow.
Lord Death Singer in the leggings.
Shout out to UK's finest.
The UK's finest Death Singer. You'll probably receive your Teespring thing by January next year or something like that.
When you're jogging past the pub, make sure you got them leggings on.
Continue, so.
That's it for me, man. Thank you, guys.
No doubt. Absolutely, Lord King, man. Absolute pleasure. You out here doing what you do.
I'd like to say thank you to our wonderful guests that were on today. Hoeg, his family, Maka, fantastic. I love the energy and Bloody. Let's get that switch mic up. Let's fix that.
I think he was in the car.
He begged me to get on this segment. He's like, please, God. I said, gotta be quick, man. It's a long show.
LA don't have real 4G out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Listen, we're moving forward. A whole lot of stuff, a lot of information is going to come out, and we're gearing up for PAX, as you saw from the beginning of the intro of the show. So we should be have our sea legs under us this PAX. So this PAX is going to go a little bit different. All the information is going to be out there. The website that you heard from the beginning is going to be up with a whole lot of information and stuff. And we're excited in this new 2019 and going forward with all the stuff that we got for you guys. So we do appreciate everybody that came through. And Chris, I love you. So don't worry about it, bro.
Fanboying out. You guys are yeah, again, shout out to Lord Maka, shout out to Lord Hoeg. Please hit that like, subscribe, the whole thing. Notification gang, y'all. Need notification gang. I need y'all to hit that. That would be appreciated. And obviously the ILP audio will be going up later tonight. You should catch us on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play and all that good stuff. So check that out. And also, as you already know, Lordy Bondis and I, our Destiny show, we have the rebrand. We are the last word. So thanks to Lord Hoeg for helping us out with that. But
I voted for 2 guys, 1 shell.
Oh my thank God the voters didn't vote that. But we got an episode up. We actually go a little bit in depth as well as far as the split and we will continue moving forward with that. And like Lord King said, we got a lot of things, special things planned for you guys. I'm super excited. Cannot wait to announce. Also, stay tuned for episode 100 when that comes, because that's going to be super special. But everyone, that's it. I've ran on long enough. Enjoy your Sunday. Oh, Lord Maka's got it in there. Let me show that. Yep. Lord, twitch.tv/UGC. That's the Halo 3 tournament, right, Lord Maka?
8,000 people watching it. It's not even close to the finals.
That's what's up. Get in there.
My best Halo game is Halo Reach. Shout out to Kids.
No.
Halo Reach.
No. He said not going to let you finish.
I think
No,
Halo Reach.
He did the Kanye on you.
He stepped in my mic. He was like, no.
Enjoy your Sunday. Hey, see you later. Peace.
Thanks again.